What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday as we are already making a turn on this week. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online to stream up at sportstalk1051.com. Got your smart devices, smart speakers. Download the app, take it on the go wherever you're at. Video streams are also up and rolling here this morning, but a very, very happy Wednesday to all of you. What do we got on a game plan for us this morning? Brewers picking up a 9-3 win last night and now setting up for a potential series win going up against Paul Skeens. Brewers throwing out Jacob Mizorowski. Everybody's talking about it. Baseball world's got the eyes on this game. So we'll definitely be previewing that and hitting that up. But last night's Freddie Peralta up his 8th win on the season. And who is this Joey Ortiz that is all of a sudden playing for the Brewers? This offensive threat, Joey Ortiz. 2 home runs last night for Ortiz. Caleb Durbin also getting a home run. 2 guys at the bottom of the order hitting the long ball on each of them. Getting a couple of hits in between Durbin and Ortiz. They had 7 RBIs out of the Brewers, 9 runs scored. So Joey Ortiz, man, you look what he's been doing here. Last 30 at-bats, 433, slug at a 633. Last 96 at-bats, last 30 games, he's hitting 292, on base with 352, slugging 427. So, I mean, you still look at the overall season numbers, it's like 217 average, 275 on base, 572 OPS. Not worldly numbers or anything like that. But with that really slow start he had from the offensive side, it's going to take a bit to get those numbers up. But right now, he is playing incredible. I mean, we knew he was a good defensive player too, and he's been making some great defensive plays as of late too. But everybody, we focus on the offensive side of things, and such. So he's give him credit. He's playing incredibly well. Incredibly well. So we'll recap last night's game coming up here, including Freddie Peralta going 5 innings. He was sharp too up until that final inning when he gave up that 3-run shots and the pitch count was up there. But nonetheless, picking up his 5th win, or excuse me, his 8th win of the season and keeping that ERA to under 3. So recapping last night, looking ahead to tonight's, or this afternoon's big big game. I don't know what else. I mean, what else would you say? I mean, you got flamethrowers. I worry a little bit. Are we making a lot about this one? Because I get it. I understand it. It's Paul Skeens and it's Jacob Mizorowski and such. Paul Skeens, we got a little bit of a bigger sample size. Mizorowski, it's just his 3rd career starts. I mean, I understand that it's some 2 of the younger pitchers, starting pitchers in the league, all the talent in the world, and they throw incredibly hard in that. But I worry we putting a little bit too much pressure on like Mizorowski already for just making his 3rd career start. I mean, the guy's set the bar so incredibly high in his very young career. So it's hard not to, and it's hard not. I mean, I'll tell you, when I first heard about it, that we were actually going to get it. Yeah, I was pumped and excited. I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I just hope that we're not setting it so incredibly high between these two. But again, the way Mizorowski has pitched in his first 2 games and the way Paul Skeens has started his career, it's hard not to get excited about this, including if you're not a Brewers or even a Pirates fan out there, there's a lot of people in the baseball world paying attention to this matchup. No question about it. So we'll talk plenty of baseball this morning, recapping and previewing that. And again, you look at this NL Central, Cardinals picking up another win. Brewers now just 2.5 back from the Cubs, but the Cardinals are just 2.5 back too. You got the Reds that keep picking up wins. NL Central is going to be tight, man. It's going to be tight as we approach the halfway mark. After today's game, this is game 81. So we'll have half the season completed after today's game, believe it or not, at least for the Brewers. So what else we got? We got the NBA draft tonight. I mean, kind of really quick. I mean, very, very quick after the NBA finals here, but nonetheless, it is tonight. In case you didn't know, if you're a Bucks fan, you don't really have a whole lot to look forward to, at least tonight for the first round in that. But there's been more trades going on. I mean, the Wizards, they're just like adding a bunch of veterans. Now they got CJ McCollum and such. Chris Middleton opted into his contract. I mean, they're loaded up on some veterans in that. The Celtics now trading Porzingis to the Hawks. So I mean, they've made a couple moves. They shipped off Drew Holiday to the Blazers. Porzingis getting shipped off to the Hawks. So it's it kind of some interesting moves here for the Celtics. But we had heard that they were gonna potentially be moving some guys and such. But yeah, definitely looking at maybe adding some younger guys to that roster. Maybe they're looking at this as a little bit of a reset gap year too with Jason Tatum's injury in that. But we'll see if the Bucks potentially make some moves across the draft board today or tonight. I know there's been some talk could they maybe move up in the first round to get somebody in that, but we'll see. Other than that, I mean, how much do you really pay to the I'll be honest, I used to love the NBA draft. I mean, that was a thing that I used to pay attention to in the summer as a kid, in summer vacation, middle school and that, mostly pretty much just middle school. I love the NBA draft. Now it's a combination of like, well, a lot of these first rounders outside the first few, especially when it comes to the Bucks, it's not like the NFL where you're gonna see a lot of these first rounders play right away in that. NBA, it's kind of hit or miss. Teams just trade away first round picks all the time. They don't even care about them, it feels like. Whereas the NFL, they're treated like gold. So I've lost a lot of, and part of it too, and this is not a knock on it by any means. It's just I don't know anything about them, but you've got a lot of international players or guys playing in a G League instead of going to college. So don't know a whole lot about them. Just because we don't know a whole lot about them. So I don't know. I mean, I'll pay attention to it, but I don't get goo goo gaga about it like I do for the NFL draft or what I used to do for the NBA draft when I was wee little middle schooler in Medford, Wisconsin. So, but we got that going at tonight. We'll maybe go over some of the latest Bucks rumors and rumblings now that we've got the draft tipping off tonight. So we'll hit that up. We'll do some stock reports. I want you to play along with us. Whose stock is up? Whose stock is falling? You can submit your picks by hitting us up with a text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Comment on the video streams or hit me up on the socials. We'll do a little trash talk. It is a Trash Talk Wednesday. If you're like, what is a Trash Talk Wednesday? This is your chance to have a little fun and send us a little trash talk about your rivals, your rival teams and that. So make it clean, make it appropriate, and send those on over. Kind of like what Surveyor did yesterday about Bears fans and such. About what when we did a little sports annoyances and that. So send those on over and play along and participate in a little trash talk with us. So, but that's kind of your game plan for us this morning. Let's jump right into it because we've got lots to talk about. I mean, for crying out loud, I just went to MLB.com. What is right on the homepage? It's a big graphic, big picture. Paul Skeens versus Jacob Mizorowski. It looks like a boxing match promo, for crying out loud. And they're already saying flamethrower set for the biggest showdown of the season. All right, Brewers fans, would you agree with that? This is the biggest showdown of the season. Listen a little bit to the game last night. Even Pat Murphy, apparently, according to the broadcasts, in his years with the Brewers, can't remember another game with regular season game with so much attention and hype going into it. I mean, are we already saying this is more than Craig Counsell's return to Miller? I was going to say Miller Park to Milwaukee last year. I mean, are we putting too much pressure on Mizorowski for this game? I feel I'm a little nervous that we are. Maybe I'm trying to lower the expectations just a bit, but I don't know. I'm excited, but are we putting a lot on this thing? Well, let's talk about it. All right. We'll recap last night's W. Joey Ortiz, are you starting to change the tide a little bit on Joey Ortiz? Just a few weeks ago, I had a ton of people saying, we need a change. We need something different. Are you cooling off on that a little bit? Are you changing the tide just a little bit? Or are you still like, I don't care. I don't care. And then we'll talk about this afternoon matchup between these two young flamethrowers. So let's kick it off this morning. Talking some baseball, talking some Brewers baseball. So let's take a quick break and we'll get things rolling here this morning. Coming up after these quick words. If you're in need of some auto repair, maybe it's just a simple oil change, maybe it's time to get some new tires, some brake work, whatever the case may be, and you're not quite sure where you should be going, well, I'll make it simple for you. You can make your appointment today with AJM Automotive in Eau Claire, located at 1919 Brackett Avenue. They can help you out from everything from just a simple oil change to replacing those brakes to maybe some full scale automotive repairs. Again, getting some new tires, maybe for some road trips coming up here and such. And they do also offer towing services. So if you ever need that tow, they can help you out too. Just give them a call, 715-835-9523. Save that number in your cell phones. I'll tell you again, 715-835-9523. So AJM Automotive, located 1919 Brackett Avenue in Eau Claire. Go give them a call and a visit and tell John we said hi over there too. So let's open up things, talking some baseball before we get to today's game. But I C-Bomb with a quick take on today's game. I think there may be too much pressure put on them, but he's on Mizorowski, but he's young enough that he probably doesn't even realize it. It's not too often that you get guys throwing over 100 miles an hour that face each other. What's really cool is it's both for small market teams being put in the limelight. I would agree with that, the small market aspect of it. I just think you almost, if we had to pick, like, okay, which one of these guys you think is going to play for their team, their current teams, the longest? I'd probably pick Mizorowski. He's going to be sticking around with the Brewers longer than Paul Skeens probably sticks around with the Pirates. And I hate saying that. Now, on one hand, good, get him out of the division so the Brewers don't have to play him. But on the other hand, just as a baseball person, you hate that because it stinks for Pirates fans. You know, it's just kind of a foregone conclusion. Paul Skeens ain't going to be there for very long. I think a lot of people just assume and believe that, and I'd probably be on that same side. So, you know, for what it's worth, Mizorowski did say it kind of feels like it's his first career start again, you know, his debut in that. So definitely feeling a little bit of it. But before we get to that, last night's game, I thought heading into last night's game, it was a big game because I did not want this Brewers team to lose this series to the Pittsburgh Pirates. I just, you can't. So they go out there and they pick up that W 9-3, thanks to a couple of long balls from two guys you definitely would expect to be able to provide the long ball for you. Caleb Durbin and Joey Ortiz. Caleb Durbin hitting a shot, and then Joey Ortiz, not one but two dingers for Joey Ortiz last night. You look at these two guys and what they've been able to do at the plates in the last 30 games at the bottom of the lineup. All right, two guys that I'm raising my hand. I'm with a lot of you. It's okay to say it. We were talking about we need better production. Maybe it's outside the organization. They got to make a move. They got to make a trade. They got to bring in they got to bring in more power. They got to bring in better offensive talent on the left side of the field. And I'm not saying that it's all fixed right now, because we know baseball is a game, is a sport with momentum and waves and highs and lows and all that fun stuff. But you also got to tip your cap and give credit to where credit's due, and Caleb Durbin and Joey Ortiz are playing incredibly well on the offensive side, on the hitting department. Caleb Durbin, his last 30 games, he's hitting .286 with 3 home runs, 15 RBIs, even walking 8 times on there too. 4 stolen bases. On base with .358, slugging .438. If we narrow it down to his last 28 at-bats, he's hitting .321 and slugging .536 with 7 RBIs and a couple of dingers. So, Caleb Durbin hitting incredibly well. Joey Ortiz, who may have been, prime suspects number 1 in terms of we need better production over there. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I think it was C-Bomb that said, okay, you're playing the Dodgers game 7. You feeling good about Joey Ortiz at the plate? And I was like, no. And I'm not saying we do now, but again, kind of have to give him props for playing incredibly well offensively. His last 96 at-bats, last 30 games, 292. Narrow it down to his last 30 at-bats, 433. Slugging a 633. He's got a long ways to go to get up that season average and season on base and OPS up there to even match his career numbers in that, because he started off so incredibly slow from the offensive side. But things are just clicking right now. And I hope that it continues to click for both Durbin and Ortiz from the offense. But like I just said a couple minutes ago, if anybody's a baseball fan, anybody who's watched baseball, or played baseball, we all know it's about momentum. It's about those waves, and you ride those highs, and you get into those grooves, and you get into those streaks, hot streaks, cold streaks. Every player goes through it. Maybe not so much Tony Gwynn from the offensive side, but you know what I mean. I mean, everybody goes through the highs and the lows and goes through these streaks. And it was a really, really, really bad offensive one for Joey Ortiz. And I don't expect him to continue to hit, 352 like he has in his last 15 games. But I'd take a 275, consistent 275 from here on out, from the shortstop position. And you just hope that maybe during this stretch, this offensive stretch that he has had, he's starting to gain some of that confidence when he goes up to the plate. Maybe he lost a little bit of that confidence when he was going through that awful stretch. Maybe he's starting to gain some of that back. And maybe that's when things will just start to be more consistent with him. More production coming from that bottom of that lineup with him and Caleb Durbin. That's what we hope for. Because, we know Ortiz's defense is just phenomenal. I mean, he's, kind of gets, I think, swept a little bit under the rug here, but he's made some incredible defensive plays and made some tough plays look incredibly easy, too, in these last couple weeks during this stretch of offensive games. We know he is a very solid defender. And now he's just kind of putting it all, together at this point. And Brewers, give them credit, take advantage of it, too. With the production that they're getting offensively, with the production that they're getting from guys like Ortiz and Durbin, they've been winning a bunch of games too. So I mean, they're putting this to good use. It's just not wasting. It's like we're not sitting here, hey, Ortiz is like hitting really well and just tattooing the ball, but they're still losing games. No. They're hitting well and they're winning games. As they approach the halfway mark, as they approach the end of this June month. They're winning games. And you look at, again, Christian Yelich. Last night collected a hit, getting that hitting streak going, and 483 in his last 29 at-bats. I mean, I know we touched on it yesterday with all these guys that have just been, they're in grooves offensively right now. A lot of guys in this lineup, in this everyday lineup, they're just hitting really, really well, where you don't want to give any of these guys any time off or a day off. You want to keep riding this streak here. So credit to where credit's due. Not saying that this is going to be what we're going to see for the rest of the season. Would love that. Absolutely would love that. But let's play the odds here. Probably not going to happen. So, last night too, Freddie Peralta, who was wheeling and dealing through the first few innings of that game last night, then giving up the 3-run shots and getting pulled after that. But before that, I mean, he was pretty darn solid, striking out 8, not issuing a single walk. Did give up 7 hits. So I mean, he did finish with 94 pitches. Again, that's kind of a typical Freddie Peralta outing, going 5 or 6 innings. But I mean, his pitch count gets up there, already over 90, or just over 90 in 5 innings. So, but he picks up his 8th win of the season to improve to 8-4, keeping that ERA below 3 at a 2.90. And the bullpen coming in after him and locking things down, only giving up 1 hit. It's from Jared Koenig there. 1 hit out of the 4 bullpen pitchers to come in for relief. And then Uribe, I mean, dude was on last night too, shutting it down in that final inning. 3 up, 3 down, 3 Ks for Uribe. You know, we've talked about Abner Uribe a couple times, but I mean, you look at the season he has had so far, and we talk about bullpen has had its ups and downs, and the starting pitching staff has definitely exceeded a ton of expectations considering the injuries to the starting rotation and such, and bullpen hasn't been consistent, or hasn't maybe been what what we've kind of been used to and such. But you look at Abner Uribe and you look at what he has done so far this season. Is it a little, are we not giving him a lot of credit for the season that he has had so far for the Brewers? I mean, you look at the numbers, okay? Right now, Abner Uribe is leading the league in holds. That's where he's at right now. He's leading the league in that. He's appeared in 37 games, 2-1 with a 1.93 ERA. He does. There are stretches. I mean, there are some games. Let's not kid ourselves where sometimes he's just a little off, like a lot of pitchers, right? I mean, there's those issues there, but you look at this young kid, and what he has done so far as kind of the setup man for the Brewers. And right now, leading the league with 20 holds. Another flamethrower, another guy who can touch those triple digits. Brewers have a couple of bullpen guys that could do that. McGill could do that too. But I feel like, Abner Uribe, we got to look at what he has done so far for this Brewers team this year, and just the job that he has done to really kind of make that back end of that bullpen kind of a lockdown situation for the Brewers. But yeah, in his 37 games, he has struck out 48 batters so far. Leads the majors in holds, and he's got a sub-2 ERA. We talk about the All-Stars, like who deserves to be All-Stars, who deserves to go to the All-Star game, and I think Freddie's probably going to be the guy. I think Sal again should get more talk and more attention for that. But if they elect to go with a bullpen guy, does Abner Uribe have a case to be made to go to the All-Star game? Does he have a legit case? I think you could make a case for him. I think you could. And I mean, June is technically been kind of his worst month if you go by ERA, 2.70. May, he had a 1.32. April was a 1.98 for crying out loud. So let's give a little bit of cred to Abner Uribe for the job that he has done, kind of as the setup man, back into the bullpen here for the Crew. But with the Brewers winning yesterday's game, it now sets up for a potential series win for the Brewers and adds just a little bit more to this matchup that's got baseball's attention. Go to MLB.com. It looks like a boxing promo flyer up there. Skeens versus Mizorowski. Skeens has been around for a little over a year. We know a little bit more about him. He's already been an all-star starter, rookie of the year. Mizorowski is making his 3rd career starts. There are parallels to these guys. Flamethrowers, hard throwers. Heck, they almost went to LSU together, for crying out loud. So we get it. There's a lot. They can touch triple digits on the radar gun with their heaters. Okay? They've got so many similarities. A lot of similarities between the two. Look at this. This was from MLB.com. Fastest secondary pitches thrown by a starting pitcher this year. So minimum of 50. I think they put the minimum of 50 because of Mizorowski just making 2 starts so far. But fastest secondary pitches thrown by a starting pitcher. Mizorowski's slider, 94.5 miles per hour. Paul Skeens tied for second. His splinker, 93.6 miles per hour. I mean, there's no question. These two dudes throw hard. They're power pitchers. They make hitters look silly at the plate. And because of their power, I think that also gets into the heads a little bit of the hitters up there. And the fact that Mizorowski can throw a couple different pitches instead of just straight gas and straight heat all the time. I mean, he's still a little bit of an unknown. There's a little bit of film out in him, but still a little bit of an unknown. But, I mean, if you're talent, you got the talent, you can still catch guys by surprise, and you can still go out there and just, dominate lineups and such, kind of like what Paul Skeens is doing so far this year. But is there a little bit of unnecessary pressure being put on a guy like Mizorowski for this start? Are we putting a little too much on him? Maybe, but I look at it as this. I don't know if I wouldn't say it's a pressure that, dude, you got to go out there and beat Paul Skeens. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that type of pressure. I think it's an excitement level. It's an excitement type of pressure, if that makes any sense. We're talking about this because we're fans excited about seeing these two guys going out there and seeing like, okay, who's going to have the most pitches that hit triple digits? Who's going to be the pitcher that has the most strikeouts? Who's going to be the pitcher with the most swing and misses in today's game? We get excited with these type of pitchers who are power pitchers who just throw gas and can light up that radar gun. And now we got maybe two of the best in Major League Baseball right now in terms of just straight up power and gas. So I don't think we're putting pressure on Mizorowski in the sense of like, dude, you got to go out there and win this thing. And, it's Paul Skeens. You got to show him who's boss. You got to show him that you're better than him. I know it's just your third start, but you got to go out there and do it. I don't think we're doing that. At least I hope there's nobody doing that right now with Mizorowski. I just think it's hard not to be pumped up about this. It's hard not to be excited and intrigued about this matchup because who knows? Maybe this is something that we're going to see for a couple years because these are two division teams. And you got two young electric flamethrowers. Maybe this is something that we're going to see for hopefully a couple years. Brewers fans probably say, no, get Paul Skeens out of the division so we don't have to face him. Probably a lot of teams within that division saying the same thing. But let's say the Pirates do hold on to him for a couple years. We're going to see this. Very rarely do we kind of have these pitching matchups within the division where you got two straight up gas, hard-throwing guys. I mean, it almost kind of feels like this is taking it way, 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 way up there, and I get it. But it almost feels like this is a top-tier quarterback matchup where the quarterbacks aren't playing against each other. It's the quarterback playing against that team's defense. But it's like, hey, it's Brady versus Manning part 10. It's Patrick Mahomes versus Justin Herbert. I don't know. I'm trying to think of another quarterback out there that we would throw in that conversation. Or Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. Even though it's like, well, Patrick Mahomes going up against the Bengals defense and Burrow's going up against the Chiefs. It's similar to this. It's Mizorowski versus Paul Skeens. But really, it's Mizorowski versus the Pirates lineup and Paul Skeens versus the Brewers lineup. But it's kind of got that feel. It's where we're focused on these two players, these two position groups. It's the quarterback versus the quarterback, and in this case, it's the starting pitcher versus the starting pitcher. It feels like to me like when we always talked about the Manning versus Brady matchups. We put so much excitement and limelight and attention on that when really, I mean, think about it, it's not these two guys aren't going head to head, right? Whereas in basketball, okay, you can have like Giannis versus LeBron, but we could actually see that. Even though it's a team game, we could see Giannis playing defense against LeBron and vice versa and going at it and such. So this matchup this afternoon gives me those feels of like, oh, this is like one of those quarterback games where we're talking about where we're saying it's quarterback versus quarterback, but really it's not. It's the same thing. That's the type of excitement, intrigue level, pressure, if you want to use that word, that I get from this game. It's exciting. I mean, Hudson and I mean, we're planning our day around this so we can take this game in because it's hard not to get pumped up about it. But I hope that there's not this undue pressure. And this is a thing as I think for Pat Murphy and Chris Hook and Jim Henderson and the coaching staff, they got to go to Mizorowski and say, hey, don't have it in your mind that you got to out-duel Paul Skeens. Just go out there and be you. Go out there and do you. Don't have the mindset going in, I got to be better than Paul Skeens today. I don't want that, and it's going to be hard. I get he's a young kid making his third career start. It's going to be hard not to kind of have that creep in your mind. But if I'm Pat Murphy, Chris Hook, and I'm talking to Miz, be like, just do you. Go pitch your game. Don't get caught up in the attention of you versus Mizorowski or you versus Paul Skeens. It's you versus Reynolds. It's you versus Cruz. It's you versus McCutcheon. Take care of your business going up against that lineup. It's our offense going up against Paul Skeens. It's Yelich versus Paul Skeens. It's Cheerio versus Paul Skeens, not Mizorowski versus Paul Skeens. That's the message I would be telling Mizorowski for today's game if I was Pat Murphy. Don't make it about you versus Paul. Make it you about that Pittsburgh lineup. And just do what you're doing, put our team in a position that we can win this game. And hopefully our offense can give you some run support. Runs are, I mean, sure seems like on paper they're going to be at a premium today. It might just take one mistake to make the difference in today's game. It might just be one pitch that makes the difference in today's game. Which offense will take advantage of that? Which offense can expose that mistake? Or is it an error in the field? I mean, if I'm the defense, if I'm playing in the field, you got to play perfect baseball. You have an error. That error could be the difference in a game like this where runs may be at a premium. So while we continue to make this a Skeens versus Mizorowski game, if I'm Terang, if I'm Ortiz, if I'm Durbin, if I'm Cheerio, I'm Sal Frelick, offensively, I've got to be on my A game, but I got to be on my A game defensively too, and not have mistakes or not allow any errors. It's a heightened situation for everybody involved in this game. All right, let's take a quick break as we wrap up the first hour. How pumped are you for this matchup, Brewers fans? Let me know. Hit me up with a text, 715-830-1912. A little over a month away until we are teeing off for the 5th annual Casper Classic to help benefit Backyard Dreams. And we need you to help make this the biggest, best year yet. The new title belts have come in. If you haven't seen these babies yet, I mean, come on, they're bigger, better, badder. I mean, I'm going to win them this year, but I mean, I'm just saying if for some reason I don't, I might have to order one of these just to put up in the studio man cave and such. I mean, holy moly, these things are huge. So if you think you want a chance to win these, remember it's you and your partner each get one. You and your partner each get one. So make sure you sign up your team right now by visiting sportstalk1051.com. And it's just $90 per team, not 90 per person. $90 per team. That includes your meal, that includes your drink tickets, that includes your 9 holes and a cart. All right. So we're going to be at Lake Hallie this year. Excited to be at Lake Hallie. I love Lake Hallie Golf Course. And Friday, August 1st, got to give a shout out to Lake Hallie again for hosting us. Park Ridge Distributing, Edward Jones, Financial Advisor, Kelsey Nikolai, Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire, VFW Post 305, Myron Construction, Doodah Gin, AJM Automotive Services, Hy-Vee in Eau Claire, Economy Furniture, Muldoon's Menswear. Shout out to Chippewa River Industries because they're going to be donating a raffle prize for us this year. The Packers also throwing in a prize. Awards and More is also donating a raffle prize for us too. So big thanks to everybody who, even if they can't golf, they still want to help support Backyard Dreams. And they said, hey, we're going to throw in a raffle prize and help you out. Rocky, Brandon's mom and Rocky are donating a couple of baskets for our raffle prize too. Love those two peeps over there for always supporting the event and that. So if you're interested in being a sponsor, whole sponsor, or any sponsor, would love to have you because that's what helps fund our Backyard Dreams and so that we can continue with Backyard Dreams. If you want to throw in a raffle prize, that also goes all 100% of the proceeds go to Backyard Dreams. And I really, really, really want to make this year the biggest and the best year. And I got to give a shout out to, I know, Donna from VFW Post, John from AEJM Automotive, saying, hey, you need some help with some volunteers too? We got you. We'll help out. I mean, talk about some awesome people right there with Donna from VFW Post 305 and John from AJM Automotive. Those couple awesome peeps too. So big thanks for volunteering or throwing out your time to help out too. So big shout out to you peeps over there. And a big shout out to everybody who is already signed up. We only got, I think, maybe one spot left for that 10 a.m., a few more for the 1 p.m. tee time. So I believe, if my memory serves me correct, the champions have all either come from the 7:30 tee time, which was Surveyor last year, but then before that, I think all of them have come from the 1 p.m. tee time outside of Surveyor's 7:30, Surveyor and Nate's 7:30 last year. So I'm just saying, maybe the 1 p.m. tee time is the tee time to go sign up and play for. Just saying. So, all right, get those in. Appreciate it. Because I know next week it's 4th of July week. Maybe not even thinking about that, but I mean, next week we're already going to be less than a month away from teeing off. Summer is flying on by. C-Bomb says, boy, was I wrong about Ortiz. Have to give Pat Murphy credit for sticking with him. Let's just hope he can keep it up. You know, that's the thing with Pat Murphy, though, too, right? Pat Murphy will stick with you. If you're doing something right for the team, you're doing something to help the team, he's going to stick with you, and he's going to give you plenty of opportunities to contribute. And we know Ortiz's defense. That's why he was in the lineup, and he stayed in the lineup. And Murphy stuck with him. And now Ortiz is playing incredibly well. The Turang example from last year, right? Remember his rookie year, really struggled against left-handed pitching. Pat Murphy gave him a shot to stay in that lineup. Turang has took advantage of that. That's the thing with Pat Murphy. And I think that's why players respect him so much and always buy into him. He gives you an opportunity. and he sticks with you, he has your back. Because you look at a lot of other teams and a lot of other situations, they may be on a different team, they may be out, they may be in the minor leagues and that, and there's probably no right or wrong way of doing it. But I think that's definitely a thing with Pat Murphy that you can probably hang your hat on. He's going to stick with you if you could do other things to help your ball club out. And he believes in you. He believes in you. He empowers players. And I think players really respect that. I mean, why wouldn't you? I feel like if I was a player, I would love to play for Pat Murphy. Because of the confidence that he has in you, the confidence that he puts you, and he's admitted before that he's been wrong about a couple players. I mean, vocally admitting, saying, "Yeah, I didn't think this player would be much for us, but boy, was I wrong." And he gives those guys opportunities to prove me wrong. I think as a player, I would love to play for a coach, for a manager like Pat Murphy. Just to know that he's got your back and that confidence. Speaking of confidence, somebody who has a lack of confidence, Morgan.
Hey, what do you usually pack? You spend a lot of time at the ballpark like we do. Do you guys have staples? Are you a seed family, a sunflower seed
Very
family?
big seed family. Hudson's probably got 5 bags in his batting bag. I've got 2 in my truck.
No, do you go classic? Because there's all these funky new flavors now. Dill pickle, barbecue,
Yep.
Or are you a ranch or do you go classic salted?
So for me, I'm dill pickle, barbecue, and ranch.
Whoa, so you don't even go classic salted.
We don't have a classic bag in our house.
Okay.
Hudson is garlic parmesan, sour cream, cinnamon.
Whoa.
Yep. So he's on those ones. He's got, I think part of it is that he wants one of every flavor.
Okay.
And he's big in ranch too. So
interesting.
Oh,
okay,
yeah. We
because
are
this is
very
like a brand new. We never had those. Feel like 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
When I was young, we only had regular sunflower seeds.
Yeah.
But truly, this is like a whole brand new menu thing.
I have a bag that sits in my console, and I have seeds while I'm driving.
What about Big League Chew?
He has a bag in the truck.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know if he's got one in his bag, but it's in the truck.
Now, are there other classic things that you guys pack, like a must pack for the baseball field? Because the softball girls always like, if it's a hot tournament or something, we always put a bunch of watermelon in the cooler. Sour Patch Kids, they like that kind of thing.
I mean, this weekend we'll have one, so we'll have the little collapsible wagon packed up with our camping chairs.
Okay.
That's a necessity.
Know that,
and the pop-up canopy. So
okay, so well, we're gonna do a little pop quiz Wednesday wildcard action here about candy. Just thinking of those snacks that so many people are packing for either camping or the ball fields or whatever you're doing. So, what crunchy treat dares you to take a break?
Take a break.
Take a break.
Is it Kit Kat?
Break me off a piece of that.
Kit Kat.
Okay,
yeah.
So the big test on whether or not you're a monster. Do you tear them apart piece by piece, or do you chomp a Kit Kat bar in one, like by bites?
Bite size, I chomp.
Okay.
Like it's just the 2 on there.
Yeah, the fun size.
Yep. The big one though, I tear apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would be 4 pieces.
Yes.
Do you know anybody that eats the big ones bite by bite?
No, I think that's ridiculous.
That would be deal breaker, really, a friendship deal breaker.
Yep.
All right. What lollipop is a secret agent instead hiding a chewy surprise in the center?
Tootsie Pop.
Okay. Gum.
Oh, bubble something.
Blow pops.
Blow pops. Okay. Yeah.
Do you go Tootsie or blow pops?
I'd rather have the blow pops. You don't see those two often anymore.
Those are always my favorite, the sour apple ones, because the gum on the inside was like extra bonus candy.
Yep.
Yeah, Tootsie Pops.
I'm not a Tootsie Roll
Don't try to
guy.
dress up a Tootsie Roll.
No.
That's still the saddest candy in the parade.
And way to market to break kids' teeth. 3 licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop.
I think it was a dentist that was behind that idea. Yeah.
Second hour kicking off right now on this Wednesday morning, a Making the Turn Wednesday coming at you. Reminder, today's game, Brewers and Pirates, or maybe we should just call it Mizorowski versus Skeens. First pitch at 1:10. So if you're stuck at work and you can't get to watch or anything like that, you can tune in your good old radio to 105.1 FM and 790 AM. To check out, to listen to the call for this matchup that has baseball, the entire baseball world's attention. So getting more talk than what the NBA draft is actually tonight. So there you have it. Little kind of less fanfare with that and such. But you ready for the NBA draft tonight? Goo goo gaga about it. You're just probably pumped up that the NBA unanimously approved your new owners for the Timberwolves. So I mean,
the Taylor era's
officially done.
It's done. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you describe the Taylor era in like a couple words?
Saved, but then I'm trying to keep it to a couple words. I would have said a lot to be desired, but that's way more than a couple words. I mean, I'm always going to remember 94. And I know a lot of Timberwolves fans, basically younger fans who weren't around then, were too young, etc., are going to remember the putridity of the Wolves over the years. Going through, we've heard all the stats. We know how bad they've been.
Yep.
They weren't around in 1994 when it sure did look like they were going to move to New Orleans. And even if in retrospect, as we've learned more, that the Bob Arum, what was that boxing company that he had, like Top Rank Boxing or whatever?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how legit that was. I mean, it's not as flimsy as the Charlotte move of the Twins of 3 years later, but also David Stern didn't want that to happen anyway. Nevertheless, Glenn Taylor stepped in and bought the team, and he saved them. And there is still an NBA team in Minnesota as a result of that. I guess you could. Maybe the 2-word answer is Herb Cole.
But a little less drama, maybe.
Cole,
I can't think of a player like a Kevin Garnett who did not like Glenn Taylor in terms of Herb Cole.
Right, that's the thing. Yeah, Herb Cole, like maybe a lesser Herb Cole. He saves the team in effect.
Everybody likes him, but maybe he doesn't do enough.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And yeah, you're like, well, what do we do? In the case of the Bucks, it was 40 and 42.
It's always 500.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that was them. The Wolves were way worse than that. But then throw in getting into this weird thing with Garnett. I mean, it takes two to tango, so some of that's on Garnett too. The Joe Smith thing. I mean, I can run through all sorts of examples of what were you thinking as an owner. Of course, he was also the owner of arguably the best WNBA team we've ever had, the Lynx. I mean, that's part of the story too.
So does A-Rod and that they own the Lynx now too?
Yep. Okay. And the way it's going to work is Mark Lowry will be the governor for the Wolves.
Okay.
Rodriguez will be the governor for the Lynx.
Okay.
When they go to the meetings and such. I'm starting to make my way through a long story, not quite a hashtag long read, but it's a long story from The Athletic, from John Krasinski, interviewed Lowry and Rodriguez in The Athletic. But I did read the spot where, of course, the arena comes up, which is pretty fast. And Lowry says, we are not going to be mercenaries. Mercenaries come in to chase the money, and that's not what we're going to do. Now, it's not quite to the LBJ level of, I will not move this team. I will not, No, and we've seen other stuff like that, but they've been pretty consistent about saying we're not moving the team. So, I think they also understand what they're getting into.
Yeah.
The political climate over there is not really, and I mean that in a small p sense, for getting public funding. Isn't that great? You saw a slight example with Xcel Energy Center. They didn't get all the money that they needed for renovation. They're going to be fine. I don't know how they're going to get a whole lot of public money. Maybe they try to go through Hennepin County or another county or something. I would not be surprised if they take the Ballmer approach to a degree. Try to build a private arena and make it a destination. and make your money back that way. It worked for Ballmer. And again, he's freaking rich and he's in Los Angeles. Minnesota is not a destination for NBA players. We know that. It's probably one of the worst.
But could Anthony Edwards change that though? Although it felt like it felt like Minnesota really wanted Kevin Durant, and maybe Kevin Durant didn't want Minnesota with all the rumors.
Possibly so, yeah.
Related to that?
Yeah, probably.
And KD played with Anthony Edwards on the Olympic team, so he's got to be a little familiar with him.
Right. So maybe it might still have been that. And if you think long term that they're going to they would probably end up getting really nice facilities. Think what happened in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Probably going to have something like that in the Twin Cities. There'll be great facilities. Well, I don't know if they're going to move on from the one that's right across the Skyway from Target Center, but maybe so. Maybe they go all out. And then that would make it more of a destination. Like Milwaukee became more of a destination than you would have imagined, in large part because that triumvirate, Edens and Lazary and Diamond, made it worth going if you were a free agent. Maybe that happens in the Twin Cities, which is a larger market. It's not that much colder. Come on, really here.
It would kind of stink to be, because I was just there at Target Field and you could see Target Center there, and I'm explaining to us, I'm like, hey, that's where the Timberwolves, play and that sort of stuff. So it's cool to have. I think it's cool to have everything kind of in one area, sort of thing like that. But
I don't know that they're going to move that far either. There's been some rumors about the farmers market, which is, how would I best describe it? Like it's almost across the road from Target Field, but you got to go to the west northwest because there's I-94 shoots west, but it's a few blocks west of Target Field, and so in between is like the farmers market, and there's some other lots where the Vikings were considering putting what's now US Bank Stadium. That's been rumored a little bit, so don't be surprised if actually it's just on the other side of the stadium.
Gotcha.
Maybe that's one possibility, but it would be centralized.
Yeah,
that would be good. It is. You kind of lose that thing of everything being in one spot there. They need to update that arena, and there'll be some updating. They said as much in the story of how they'll enhance the game experience and everything like that. And I didn't get into the other stuff of what else they're going to do to the team business ends and such like that. But they're going to probably make some pretty big change, some noticeable changes if you're paying attention. If you're a casual fan, you probably won't. If you're a hardcore fan, you probably will. Or if you're focused on the business side, you will. And as we've said so many times, we're probably days away from seeing some Instagram post, and here's KG.
Yeah.
It's coming fast because he wanted back in and he just wanted to wait till the Taylors were gone. Taylors are within day. What's the official transition? It's happening. So I ultimately take out all of our guffawing about A-Rod being A-Rod. That's who he is. And the Lori part is the bigger part to this. And I think I'm going to be wary until an arena is approved because they're going to go for a new one. Until then, I'll be wary, but it's a good move ultimately.
Yeah. So, but NBA draft tonight. We all know the first pick. After that, it's like, has it lost its luster for you over the years?
Yeah, because I don't know the players as much.
That's what I was kind of saying in the first hour. It's like, it's not a knock that on these players. It's just I don't know the G League players. I don't know the international players. I used to be gaga about the NBA draft when I was in middle school, but when they were all like, oh, I watched them in college.
It was the route to go. It was straight from college, which that was the structure back then.
Right. I don't know anything about these guys. Right. And I feel like part of it is that a lot of these NBA teams don't give a rip about first round picks. So why should we give a rip about the NBA draft?
Okay, here's the funny thing. I'm looking through the best available right now is to confirm my thoughts from what I've been reading a while back. Of the best available of the top 25, 1, 2, 3, only 4 are not college players. We've had a lot of those G Leagues. Remember the Thompson twins?
Yep.
All like the French players, Rissachet last year. This year, there are 3 French players. but the highest rated French players is Noah Asenge at 9.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's Cooper Flagg from Duke.
Yep.
The Rutgers guys, Harper and Bailey, Edgecombe from Baylor, Trey Johnson from Texas, couple Dukies, Fierce from Oklahoma. Admittedly, not all the names are that familiar because kind of like in Rutgers' case, if you're more of a casual, and I'm sure there's some diehards listening like, yeah, I know these guys. Right. But casual fans probably are going to be a little surprised by the Rutgers guys, even though they've been projected near the top for months.
For a long time, yeah. But Rutgers isn't a good team.
Right, that's the thing. Yeah. Great players, sucky team couldn't make the tournament, and now they're going to go. So it's like a variation on a G League situation of who are these guys?
Right.
Now, we'll learn their names soon enough. If they're good, they're good. If they're bad, they're bad. And that's it. I mean, that's the overrated part of the high-profile college era, which was most of the history. You had a lot of really well-known players that got drafted high. Whoa, that's neat.
Yep.
Didn't do anything in the pros because they weren't pro-worthy. So Ace Bailey should be really good, but we'll find out. Cooper Flagg should be really good, but we'll find out. And there's 2 or 3 names in there. We're like, who's that guy? Who will be a regular topic of this show in 5 years because they will be an NBA star. That happens every year.
What do you make of the Celtics making these moves that they're making right now?
That has suddenly become a topic in the last 24 hours. Yeah. Like it was bubbling, and it feels like it burst now. The second apron. I was reading Jared Dubin's his Substack or whatever. It's not on Substack now, but his story on the owners did this to themselves, and they keep trying to fix their own problems. It's happened with he mentioned the extended trade with Carmelo, the summer of 2016, Kevin Durant, and the explosion there, and now this. And now they're upset about it. Well, you wanted it. And so now you have to get rid of players for financial purposes and not be super competitive. And my guess is seeing all of this consternation over this. I'm guessing this is going to be a topic in the next CBA. Like, I guess as a fan of a smallerish market, I mean, Minnesota's not small, but smallerish, in that I like the Bucks that are definitively small market. Something like a salary cap should be in play. Because what we were literally just talking about a few minutes ago of there are certain places free agents aren't going to want to go. You kind of have to force them to go to certain places. See the NFL. Otherwise, Green Bay would have been not the Green Bay Packers by this point without a cap. But if we're going to be blowing up teams just purely for money when you have fewer players involved versus the other ones where they have hard, like the NHL sometimes has a hard cap. NFL doesn't have that hard of a cap. As we know.
Right, exactly.
There are ways around that. Right now, the NBA is like, nope, sorry. I mean, you can pay money if you want to, but there are other things that you are not allowed to do. I think that's going to be addressed. Especially seeing a higher profile team get dismantled. I know they're going into a year where they probably wouldn't be finals contenders anyway because of Jason Tatum being out. They'd be good if everyone from this past year's team was on next year's team sans Tatum. But if you want to try to get through that year, you might as well get the older guys gone. Let's be real. Holiday and Kristaps, especially Drew, way up there. And then try to turn that around and rebuild from there. But it still comes across like pretty much everything right now is you got rid of 2 high-profile guys just for the money. And now they're in okay shape financially. But you're also down those 2 guys. So my guess is there will be some modification that probably will come back to bite the owners in like 2032. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. So, I know there was some talk about, I was reading, like, I think it was more of Bucks fans, writers, bloggers, whatever we want to call them, saying maybe the Bucks would trade up into the first round and grab. Hey, I don't know. Does it matter? Do you care? I don't care.
No,
I'm sorry, but I look at their recent history with first round picks. It's been nothing.
No,
It's just
they're going to get the guy that was like the G League person. I know there was no one ranked that high that's a G Leaguer right now, but they would get that guy.
Right.
The project, like, oh, great. That'll help in 2029.
Exactly. So it's like that doesn't trip my trigger or anything like that. Especially it's going to be in the 20s, late 20s.
Yeah.
Not saying those guys can't develop into good players in that. It's just
right now there's not the guy right now. I mean, some years they're very deep drafts. This looks like probably an average-ish sort of draft. They're all over the place. Some of the better-known names are further down, but that's what happens. They're good college players. They're not going to translate that well, if at all, to the pros. I don't know. That second apron looms over everything right now. Like, that's all I can think about, seeing what the other teams have been doing lately. That's going to really inhibit what they're going to be able to do. And what they can do with Giannis. Where are you at the Giannis meter as of draft day?
2.1, meaning he's staying in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Oh, Green Bay. Wow. Milwaukee.
Wow, okay.
Let's just say Wisconsin.
We have some breaking news here.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Yeah, what was I? I was like a 3.7 last week. Maybe I'm more like a 3.6, 3.5. Like there was a clip from Shams that was going around of like Giannis is keeping everything to himself. His camp doesn't say anything. And so I watched the clip and I'm like, Shams is just telling everyone that this is what's happening. I think there was trying maybe an effort to be like, ooh, maybe there is going to be something. But Shams said in that clip last week, was it on McAfee?
Yeah.
Yeah, he also said, or maybe nothing will come of this. He's so much as said that. So yeah, like
Shams is the easy target for a lot of Bucks fans though, because he's not straight out coming out and saying that Giannis is staying. So he's the easy target because he's not legitimately just straight up saying that.
Right. So. And maybe that's his
and
way.
And a part of it was because of Giannis's tweet. Does anybody else miss Adrian Wojnarowski? So
well, that might be the point, that Shams can't get off the record. Well, not off, probably like
he can't crack the inside of the Giannis circle.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so he doesn't know. So he's got to say that. And that's his way of saying that without coming out and saying, I can't get in. You're not going to say that as the go-to insider of the mothership.
Right.
So,
yep.
Well, we'll find out eventually, but I'm with you. I'm leaning more towards Giannis stays.
Which now the whole Eastern Conference has just gotten more weirder. I don't know if that's the best way to just like.
Well, unfortunately, the Bucks are one of those that are in trouble. When
are they though with all the moves?
Well, I mean, okay, because they're still overcoming the Dame injury.
Yeah.
So that's still going to be a factor next year. So it was part of the whole everyone's going down with Achilles. So who's going to have a shot next year? Which that does open it wide.
Because Tyrese ain't playing next year.
Nope.
Tatum's going to be out a long time, and now they just traded Drew Holiday and Porzingis. Or I mean, if I'm Orlando and Cleveland and the Knicks, I mean Orlando's already made a move.
Yeah.
But if I'm like the Knicks and Cleveland, it's like, hey, now
Atlanta was part of the Kristaps trade.
Yeah.
I mean, just about everyone in there has a shot in some either to make a move, or hearing this in the Simmons podcast, him and Zach Lowe and Russillo were going over the East next year. They said, like, if you're Cleveland, run it back.
Yeah.
You actually could now. There was disappointment, obviously. Like, maybe we need to. Do you need to switch anything up this year? If once you get fully healthy again, and they weren't, at this point, you could very easily get in the finals, and then let's see where all that goes. And then you're with all of the potential injuries. Let's say OKC gets back. Let's just make it easy here. They realistically, they probably aren't, because that's how the NBA goes. Though they're probably still going to be mostly together. If there was a team that's probably it's being constructed right now to withstand a fair amount of the second apron stuff for the near term, it's the Thunder. But let's say SGA goes down with an injury in like the conference finals next year, but they make the NBA finals. Bam, Cleveland's there. They're very likely going to win the NBA finals, even going up against a team of an SGA less Thunder. So you might as well do that. You're not that far from it. And then go further down. How much work do the Bulls really need to do to be that competitive?
Well, then part of me was wondering, too, are the Knicks going to end up regretting firing Tim Thibodeau?
Maybe. Maybe so. I mean, is he still may not have been the best coach long term.
Right.
So I'm inclined to, give the Knicks the benefit of the doubt. Is there any circumstance where you do
But
that?
as far as I know, I mean, they haven't gotten a new coach yet.
Nope, they're still working on folks. They did.
It was funny. We joked about it last week, but then you know who they apparently Mike Brown. Yep. I'm like, oh, of course. Yeah.
Isn't that a requirement?
It has to be
a quota or something.
Yeah.
But they're talking to one of the Timberwolves assistants.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they've gotten into assistant world, but yeah, welcome to every other NBA team that goes and finds an assistant. And they may have been too early, but they may also backdoor their way into a good spot because of circumstances and all of these other injuries. At least I don't think there are going to be any other torn Achilles off season for any of these players. What is Trae Young going to suddenly go down? I'm trying to think of which other star players potentially could. Is it Evan Mobley's going to get
in the East at least?
Yeah, Scotty Barnes, just speaking of best,
Paolo Banchero,
right? Brunson.
Yeah.
I mean, where do we go with all of these possibilities? I don't think so. I think we just had an unusual run of 3.
Mm-hmm.
But that does mean
that all wears 0.
Right. Weird. But for the Bucks' sake, I guess if they do everything just right, I don't know that I'd necessarily trust that they can.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could go on a bit of a run just because the ceiling's going to be much lower this year in the East.
Yep.
It's a 1-year thing.
All right, we got to take a quick break. Hey, send us your picks, predictions, bold predictions, game picks, stat lines, whatever for today's World Series matchup between Mizorowski and Paul Skeens, because this is the best game of the decade, apparently to some. So have a little fun with us. Send us your picks and bold predictions. Hit us up with the text, 715-830-1912. Quick break. We'll be back after these few words.
Expire. It's kind of brilliant. Websticks. Find out more at websticks.com. That's websticks with an X.com.
Stunning sights, more clicks, web support from Websticks.
Get ready to save with half-off deals. A great way for you to get goods and services that you will love and you don't have to pay full price. Be sure to check out all the great savings that half-off deals have to offer. There's something for everyone, so be sure to see for yourself. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
We love when you listen to our local Midwest family Eau Claire radio stations, but did you know all of them are in one convenient location too? It's the Around the 715 app. Take us with you hiking on one of our many outdoor trails in west central Wisconsin. Sync up a station to your Bluetooth speaker while sitting around the campfire on a Saturday night. Heck, you can put your earbuds in and listen on a cruise ship in the middle of the Caribbean. We are based locally, but you can take us with you globally with the Around the 715 app. Living local, but living large.
Summer's officially here, and Fleet Farm's ready to go with unbeatable outdoor deals. Stock up on 24 packs of Fleet Farm bottled water. On sale now, just 2 for $5. Get 20 pounds of Bear Mountain barbecue pellets for $7.99 a bag. And spruce up your yard with bags of Superior Weed and Feed for just $19.99. Whether you're grilling or chilling, get what you need at the best prices guaranteed this summer at Fleet Farm. And check out all our deals at fleetfarm.com.
When it came time to update the floors in my home, I wanted to make sure I did it right. So I went where I knew I would be taken care of, and that's Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. From the moment I walked through the doors, I could tell this place was different. No pushy salespeople, just a knowledgeable, friendly team ready to help you out. They really took the time to listen to what I wanted, helped me compare options, and showed me flooring that actually fit for my style and my budget. The selection, massive. Carpet, luxury vinyl, tile, you name it. Whether you're remodeling one room or your whole home, they've got you covered. And let me tell you about the install team. They were awesome as well. They were on time, respectful of my home, and the results were spot on. Just beautiful floors that made my space feel brand new. So if you're thinking about new flooring, don't overthink it. Trust the place that I trust. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Local service, expert advice, and floors you will love for years to come. Visit Carpet City Flooring Center today at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire.
Dick's epic 4th of July sale is on. Get summer ready with 25% off select Stanley drinkware. Get 20% off Igloo coolers and water bottles and select bog bags. Buy one, get one 50% off DSG coolers, canopies, chairs, and water bottles. $200 off Callaway AI smoke irons and TaylorMade QI10 drivers. These deals won't last. Stock up for summer now, in-store or online at Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please.
Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours.
Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours.
Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Broadcasting live from the TDS Sports Talk 105.1 studios, it's the Dan Kasper Show.
Coming up just past top of the hour, we'll do our stock reports, whose stock is rising and whose stock is falling. If you want to play along with us, you can hit us up with a quick text or comment on the video streams, or hit us up on the socials with whose stock is rising and whose stock is falling. It is also a Trash Talk Wednesday. But maybe I have something positive to say about our friends across the border from my experience this past weekend. So we'll see. So, but if you want to do a little trash talk, today's your day. Again, you know the drill. Hit us up with a text or video stream comment, or hit us up on the socials too. So we'll switch gears here just a little bit. We'll chat football here for a few minutes with the Packers with Joe. Joe, let me ask you about Isaiah Simmons, the former first-round pick from the Cardinals. Spent some time with the Giants and such. This was a little bit ago, but he had kind of talked about his free agent process and how Jeff Hafley said he was going to use him, which was going to be focused more on linebacker instead of playing a hybrid linebacker safety role. What do you think the expectation should be for Isaiah Simmons this year for the Packers?
No, great question. And so, first of all, Captain, I want to say I think Hafley defining a role for him, I think is critical. It doesn't matter what level of football you're at, or it doesn't matter what sport you're in. Once you define a role for a player and put that player in a position to succeed, he has a better chance of being successful. And so that's the first thing. I love the fact that as he was going through the free agent process, he was looking for a good fit, and Hafley gave him definition. So that's the first thing. The expectation should be a contributor. And I know that sounds like I'm bailing out on the question, but you're not going to see 12 sacks out of him. I don't think you're going to see a Zach Bond type of reclamation project coming into this. But if he can come in and contribute on special teams and contribute in some packages on the defensive side of the ball, get you a few sacks, get you a few splash plays, I think that's a success. And I think this is one of those signings that Goody does that I think makes a lot of sense. It's a kid who was drafted high. Most scouts at the time thought he was going to be he goes to Arizona, nondescript years, and then goes to the Giants, and they misuse him. And so he's a young kid where the arrow still is pointing up. So love the signing, but I think, again, as far as expectations go, he should be a contributor.
When you look at that linebacker group, would you say that's on the defensive side, the position that is maybe the deepest? And if so, when was the last time we actually said that about the linebacking group?
I think I like the safety group because I put Javon Bullard in there, and so I think that would be my number one from a depth and talent standpoint. But yeah, I think that linebacker group, and I think it fits what Hafley wants to do. And I think that's the big thing is when you look at scheme fits and you look at what players need to do in that scheme, I think Green Bay's in a really good position from that linebacker position. And of course, reports are out that Goody's still working on an extension for Quay Walker. Obviously, a lot of expectations for Edgerrin Cooper. And so you've got some pieces there where you can say this linebacking crew might be able to do some damage. And if you look back, and if you look at a Matt LaFleur team, and then you can kind of point back to some of the coaches that he's followed, and you look at Shanahan, and you look at the linebacking crew that they had in San Francisco, I think that's something that Matt LaFleur and Goody would love to emulate. And so, yeah, I think there's serious depth there, and I think this could be a play-making part of this defense.
On the offensive side, speaking of expectations and such, what should the expectation, do you think, or what should the expectation be on for Marshawn Lloyd heading into year 2? And we barely got to saw him last year.
I think the expectations there, kind of like an Isaiah Simmons. I think it's going to be package specific for him. And I think it's going to be one of those things where the expectation should be a few splash plays here and there. I think they're going to build some plays specifically for him, and I think he's going to come in on certain packages. Look, I think Green Bay, that's another position. I think Green Bay is in a really good place. Now, injuries can always happen, and we know that. And so I look at what Lloyd can bring and just the explosiveness and the ability to play in space. And when you look at it from a passing game standpoint, if he can prove he can pick up the blitz, I think he's going to see the field more, and I think that's going to be critical for him. But I think expectations, again, I put him in that Isaiah Simmons type of a category where he's going to be a contributor where you're looking for some certain packages and certain splash plays that you can get out of that player.
I mean, and then, we're looking at, second-year guys and such, which between Marshawn Lloyd and Jordan Morgan, who has to have the bigger second year? Is it Morgan? Even though we don't know if he's going to be but I think he's going to be a starter. I don't know. Who knows? But I mean, between Jordan Morgan and Marshawn Lloyd, who are you looking to make the bigger jump in year 2?
Jordan Morgan, no question. I'm looking for him to make the bigger jump. I think the expectations for him are higher than Lloyd, and I think that position for Green Bay, there's still some long-term question marks, and I think Jordan Morgan needs to take that next step up. And there were a lot of options for Green Bay when they drafted Jordan Morgan. And so the fact that they went after him, it says a lot about what they thought about the other positions on the offensive line. So I think 100% the expectations should be much higher for Jordan Morgan.
Dontavian Wicks, where are you at on him as he's entering his third year? Obviously, a lot of talk about the wide receivers with Jane Reed and obviously Matthew Golden and such. And I know Dontavian Wicks last year with a lot of drops, but he can get off the line of scrimmage and such. Where are you at on the Dontavian Wicks stratosphere?
It's a prove it year. It's his third year. And if you look back, and I'm not saying Devontae Adams but if you look back and you look at Devontae Adams' third year, that's when he took off. That's when he took that next step. So, my expectation, it's definitely a prove it year. And I think that you really have to say, this is it. If Dontavian Wicks is going to be a player, he needs to make the plays this year and take that next step up. All the tools are there. That's the thing that's most impressive with him. The tools are there. He just needs to put it all together. He needs to catch the football.
If Romeo Doubs has a career year, let's say he actually cracks 1,000 yards, and let's say Christian Watson maybe comes back for the final quarter of the season and such and is okay. You got these two guys as free agents. Would you still lean towards bringing back Christian Watson because of what he can bring to the table from a physical standpoint? Do you lean more towards Dobbs, even though it may cost a little bit more, but you saw what he could do? Or is it none of those guys, considering they got Golden, they got Reed, and maybe Wicks has a good year this year?
I sign Watson. If it's Watson and Dobbs, I re-sign Watson. You just 6'4", 215, 4'3". It's a special kind of dynamic that Dobbs does not have. And so Romeo Doubs, I like him. I do. I think this is his last year in Green Bay 100%. I think with everything I think a change of scenery would be good for the Packers and Dobbs. And again, I like Romeo Dobbs. I think he brings a lot to the table, but you can't coach the specialness that Christian Watson has inherently.
With last year too, because as we started to get towards training camp and that, we knew a couple positions that maybe were going to be a little interesting or maybe a little weak, and some position battles. Like I think about quarterback and the backup quarterback position that we were in last year, and ultimately they ended up trading for Malik Willis. As we get closer to the start of training camp, is there that position that's maybe similar to the backup quarterback from last year that maybe potentially if some of these guys don't have a good training camp, that Green Bay potentially makes a trade to bring in a little bit more depth at?
Yeah, I think it's got to be cornerback. I think you have to look at that room and say if there's A, injuries, or B, guys don't play up to expectations, you might have to make a move like Goody made last year with Malik Willis to bring someone into that room. And again, I look at it from a depth standpoint. I think the starters for Green Bay at that cornerback position, I think they're good. I think we're fine there. But when I look at it from a depth standpoint, that's when I start having question marks. And then injuries come into play, and that's when you need to make a move. And there's still some guys out there that once you get to training camp, if you need to make a move on, I think Goody pulls that trigger.
With training camp about a month away right now, is there a certain, outside of the corners and such, is there maybe an underrated position group that you're kind of really interested and intrigued to be watching when practice picks up?
We all know, I think we do, what Tucker Kraft is and who he can be. I'd like to see Luke Musgrave be completely healthy. I'd like to see 12 personnel with him. I'd like to see what he can bring to the table. And then I also think that Fitzsimmons and Sims bring something to the table as well. So I think the known part of that equation is certainly Tucker Kraft, but I think the rest of the group, I think it's a little bit of an enigma, but I think there's really a lot of potential there to do some fun things if you're that offensive play caller, Matt LaFleur, for the Green Bay Packers.
He's Joe DeGuano chatting some green and gold with us this morning, every Tuesday morning. We appreciate the time as always, sir. Enjoy the rest of the week, man, and we'll catch up again soon, okay?
All right, Captain. Take care, brother.
You got it. There you go. Joe DeGuano joining us here this morning. We're going to take a quick break. And before that, Surveyor Sam has a quick text. The duel of the decade. Brewers win 1-0 after Yelich takes the 2-0 curveball that stayed up in the zone out of the yard in the eighth, breaking up Skeens' perfect game. Miz pitches a full game shutout, allowing only one hit in the third. That is what I would call a bold prediction.
Bold
I
prediction.
like that. I like that. Anybody else? Can you match that?
Duel of the decade. I hope that's what it is.
Duel of the decade.
Or they'll get pulled for a whole wave of relievers beginning in the fourth inning.
Yep. Let's talk more about this game. We'll take a quick break and be back after these quick words.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Hey everyone, Dan Kasper here, and I gotta tell you, I've been spending a lot of time at the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire, and honestly, it's one of the best spots around. Whether you're looking for a friendly place to relax, catch a game, or enjoy great food and drinks, they've got you covered. The atmosphere is welcoming, the people are awesome, and the events are always a good time. It's the kind of place where you feel like you belong right away. If you haven't checked out VFW Post 305 on Star Avenue, I highly recommend you do. It's quickly become my go-to spot in Eau Claire.
Get ready to save with half-off deals, a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love and you don't have to pay full price. Be sure to check out all the great savings that half-off deals have to offer. There's something for everyone, so be sure to see for yourself. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
We all live busy lives, and sometimes when you get that little bit of free time, it is sacred. Now, wouldn't it be nice if there was a place where you could go to find out how to spend your free time? Like where to eat, where to catch a show, where to take a walk, where to go support local. Good news. We have a place for that. It's called Around the 715. It's the spot that you go to when you want to find out what's going down around town. And the good news is, it's easy to find. Just download the all-new Around the 715 app on your smartphone.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number 4th of July sale. Save over $600 on our King P5 smart bed, our lowest price of the season. Plus, get free home delivery with most smart beds, limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-419-2387. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387.
Because you have high standards and won't settle for anything less, like your wife did. It's the Dan Kasper Show.
The biggest game in Milwaukee Brewers history. First pitch, 1:10 today. Not really, but still.
Bigger than Game 5 of the World Series in '82.
I wasn't around, so I don't care.
It's the biggest game of the day.
Although
in Wisconsin.
Pat Murphy did say, apparently, that he can't remember another, during his time, he's been with the Brewers for a while now, remember, a more hyped up, intriguing regular season game before, which I'm like, oh, even with Council's return last year, I thought would garner a lot in that. But this game,
the potential's there anyway.
It is, but I also feel like this is a Brady versus Manning type of game. Whereas we got to remember, it's not really Mizorowski versus Skeens. It's Mizorowski versus Pittsburgh's batting lineup, and it's Paul Skeens versus the Brewers batting lineup. Kind of like where it was never really Brady versus Manning. It's Brady versus Broncos or Colts and Manning versus the Patriots, defenses and such. I feel like it's one of these scenarios where it's like, get it, it's the quarterback game, but really they're not going head to head in this.
They're not. But we haven't had something like this in a while because of the nature of how starting pitching has evolved and been lessened. A very quick sidebar to show how the game has changed. Now that we're talking about two big starting pitchers. So I'd come across it years ago, and I finally got around to watching it because remember the place where I got the yearbooks.
Oh, yeah.
On the west side. Remind of the listeners again.
Ultimate Authentics.
Ultimate Authentics. So over the weekend, I was paging through the '82 yearbook before, of course, they went to the World Series. And I'm seeing all of these references to like big moments of the Brewers of the past few years. A lot were 1979. I'm like, oh, that's right. There's a half-hour recap on YouTube. Folks, if you have a moment, a half hour to watch this, Euchre, does the narration, and it's the classic MLB Productions thing from the 70s, 80s, 90s, where there are a lot of like little puns and the video clips. If you're
jackets,
you know of the era. It's very much of that, and it's a great watch. Like how Paul Molitor does an introduction for a music thing, but he says it very dryly. But that's what you did back then. Anyway, part of this was they talked about 7 straight complete games to start the season by all these pitchers, and I'm listening to all this. I'm going, I remember not that, but I remember when that could have been a thing, and that is not baseball at all. This is recapping 79. So I mean, 46 years ago is a long time. What are the odds that Skeens and Mizorowski complete game this game? I mean, heavily against either one, much less both.
Right. I mean, everything paints the picture of runs being at a premium in this game. I mean, but okay, is Mizorowski older than Skeens? Probably, but come on, playing experience, Paul Skeens is worlds above Mizorowski right now, and I think that is a factor into this.
Right.
I mean, Mizorowski is making his 3rd career start. Paul Skeens already has a all-star start to his record, a Rookie of the Year award, and has already dealt with so much attention on and off the field. And this is the thing too, I think we maybe doesn't get talked about enough about. I think you give Paul Skeens a ton of credit for managing the limelight, whether it's been his personal life with his girlfriend, and a lot of that for a young man. And he's still playing I mean, he's an awesome pitcher, maybe the best in the league right now. He's handling all this incredibly well, which I think it's kind of a rare thing. He is so young yet, and he's handling all this extra attention so incredibly well. It's awesome to see that.
He's the most talked about young pitcher at this point because he's backing up his talent with performance on the field. I mean, he has great outings despite how the games end up, but that he's doing what he can do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he ain't doing anything wrong.
No, I mean, he has College World Series experience too. That on a high profile stage there, and we've seen what can happen to some pitchers in Omaha. You can get blown up real fast. You can also do really well, like that Arkansas pitcher. So he's been on a high profile stage, and now he's in a low profile MLB situation, but it's still it makes you think he's probably going to go out today at American Family Field and do a great job for the Pirates. Now, what's the over-under on, I'm not going to say hits, batters allowed for Mizorowski. I'm going to put it at, I'm going to say 4.5 total batters allowed. So that could include walks, obviously.
Yep.
You taking the over?
I'm taking the over on that.
I'll take the over, but not by a lot.
I'll take the over. I mean, I know he's only given up 1 hit, and it was a home run against the Twinnies, but he has issued a few walks, so I would take the over.
Okay.
I mean, I feel it's like, what was I going to say? I'm more confident in Paul Skeens than Mizorowski, and that's not a knock on Mizorowski, just handling the limelight, the pressure in this one and such. That I feel like that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Because yes, he hasn't pitched in big games for the Pirates and that, but I mean, I almost feel like, you go to MLB.com, it's the big graphic right there, right? It's right there, and I almost feel like Paul Skeens is like just another day for him. Whereas the Brewers, of course, we as fans, we're all geeked up and pumped up about this.
Well, it's exciting, like what the Brewers are going through right now. It's like whenever another pitcher has like their breakout moment, I remember is after Steven Strasburg's debut. I remember watching that game like, oh my gosh, what's happening? That's the case right now because how many guys start their career with 11 no-hit innings combined over 2 starts? And that's still more than 2. If anyone's like, yeah, well, they weren't complete game. It's still more than 1 full game unless he had pitched an 11 inning individual game. So there's a lot of excitement there. This is definitely a look forward to game. I don't know what I'm going to get from the Pirates after what happened with Cruz getting benched, but they were good the other night. Then they're not good. I don't know. I'm guessing this will be a low scoring game, but I'm hoping that these guys both go into I don't want to say an older baseball fan, but this, I can't believe I'm saying this. I hope they get to the 6th inning. Because if this were 1998, I would presume that we're going to get maybe a complete game out of both of them. This is not a question. Now I'm like, I think we can get to the 6th. I think so. And as opposed to the 4th or the 5th in an average matchup. This should be a really good one. The division as a whole, too. Burns did last night with the Reds. Struck out his first 5.
Yeah.
It's a great, all in all, this is a great setup here for pitching in the Central.
Richie says Skeens is 5 days older than Miz. Well, I don't know what birth record you're looking at. Mizorowski was born in April of 2002, and Paul Skeens was born in May of 2002. So April comes before May.
That's true.
So not quite sure, but no. Anyways, I don't know. Maybe I'm just setting the bar a little bit low. And maybe I don't want to buy into it. Like I don't feel like it's going to go to script today.
Yeah,
I just don't.
We've seen enough examples of this is the matchup, and that matchup doesn't happen. I mean, kind of, sort of had that with the Ohtani Judge battle, which again, that's another one that's not entirely a battle.
Exactly, yeah.
And then it didn't quite turn out that way, which, I mean, that's fine. It's the expectation because they're the best players. I get that. But then maybe something else happens and Ortiz hits 4 home runs today or something like that. That's the story. And Mizorowski gives up like 3 runs. Skeens gets pulled early, and we're not talking about that at all. It could happen that way too. It's the magic of baseball. But at least we got a real reason to watch 2 teams that aren't expected to be World Series contenders in the National League because they got really, really talented players going up against each other, if not directly.
Right.
Again.
So we'll make our picks towards the back end of this hour, but maybe you can call me a Debbie Downer. I want it to play the script. I'm just not feeling it. Maybe it comes down to which offense do you trust better. Brewers are hotter, but I mean the Pirates have also. I mean,
they have their moments.
Certain hitters have hit well against Milwaukee. I mean, Gonzalez right now is just on a tear going against Milwaukee. So Cruz has given up on plays, which is fine. But
yeah, what's the matchup? The lefty righty matchup. I can't remember. Mizorowski and Gonzalez. Is that a?
Well, Mizorowski's a righty.
Gonzalez is a
righty, isn't he? Yeah.
So that should be to Miz's advantage. Should be. Hopefully so, for his sake anyway.
I know he hit his home run last night as a righty, but I think,
switch hitter?
Well, I'll double check for you.
Let's take.
I want to give false info.
Like birth dates. Sorry. We're kidding.
Luke's not.
Well, with the added. What is okay, Nick Gonzalez is, he is a righty.
Okay, so I was right.
Total righty. So that should be advantage Mizorowski. You would think. Right.
But you know, how much does that get overplayed too when you're a power guy? When you just straight up throw gas and your slider, your secondary pitch still is like almost 95 miles an hour.
Well, I mean, I think that goes both ways too. Some guys who are just beasts of pitchers, like so far Mizorowski. Right, it doesn't entirely matter, but sometimes for some batters too. I mean, if they're hot, they're gonna go off of anyone. I mean, Nick Gonzalez has pretty good stats overall. He's 864 to OPS.
Yeah,
it's a 316 average. That's good. The matchup may not quite favor Gonzalez against Mizorowski, but it's not the worst situation.
Right.
By the way, have we settled on any nickname, or are we actually going to go with the Miz and repeat another nickname?
The Miz, which I know I don't like because that's why I always called Rogers A-Raj.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think
this one has been out there more than what I think people called Rogers A-Rod.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Right. And I'm more accepting of it, I think, because The Miz, it's a little more niche-y. Like, I'm quite familiar, but you either have to have watched Road Rules and or the Real World, The Challenge, or be in, of course, wrestling.
And we know wrestling isn't a real sport. I'm waiting now to see how many people are going to yell at me.
What does Brandon think?
Oh, don't even. Between him and JC, yeah, don't even.
The Miz is not happening?
No, I thought you were going to say
I was going to say, like, no, I already know well enough. I'm not going to challenge that.
Yeah.
But what would be their take? That if they're approving of it, I
think so. Yeah. I mean, we're in a society now. I mean, for crying out loud, the kid was given to Yount and Griffey Jr. and such. So, I mean, we're in a very uncreative society now when it comes to nicknames.
Unfortunately.
Let's be real. So, how about the Big Miz?
Yeah, Mizzy.
He's like 6'7". The Big Miz.
Big Miz.
You know.
Well, and that kind of ties in with missing the baseball when you're swinging.
Mm-hmm. The Big Miz.
See, it makes sense.
Creative right here.
You could say the Miz, or you could say the Big Miz. Go with that.
We're gonna run with that.
Yeah, the Big Miz. Coined right here.
Yep, I like it. The Big Miz.
Work on my patent right now.
Mm-hmm.
Copyright.
Yep, I like it. All right, shot class will cut me off here in a few seconds, so we'll do some stock reports coming up here. Stock reports: whose stocks are rising, whose stocks are falling. Last chance to text us on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, and then we'll do a little trash talk Wednesday. Final hour coming up after these news updates.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's your news done differently with Morgan McCarthy.
Well, good morning. Here's what we're learning today. We'll start from the courts with a gavel drop. It's prison time and pen to paper as sentencing is being ordered for the man convicted of setting those wildfires in Jackson County. Now, we've been talking about this case this week and the fires burned on county and private lands in 2023. The defendant, Daniel Johnson, previously pleaded guilty to charges of intentionally setting those fires to another's land. Most recently in court this week, he was ordered to serve 4.5 years behind bars and also write letters of apology to the owners of the land where the fires were started. That includes the Wisconsin DNR and Black River Falls Fire Department. Continuing in the courts and locally, a court date is now being set for a lawsuit filed by former UW lacrosse chancellor Joe Gao against the university. Gao claims his termination last year was a violation of his First Amendment rights. Now, you probably remember a little bit about this. We'll untangle it and remind you exactly of the details. Gao had been fired after it came to light that he and his wife had been creating pornography videos and then posting them online. He says the posting the videos was a form of free speech and self-expression. The trial date set for June 22nd of next year. Well, there was recently a backup over the weekend on I-94 due to some road buckling, and that was the case across the state with our high temps and kind of that roasty heat that we saw last weekend. More than 50 road buckles happened across the Dairyland, and the DOT just wants to remind people that you can find the most recent and up-to-date information on conditions for the roads at that 511 website, and we have a link online as well for you at 715newsroom.com. And we all know that in the morning, Donkey was making waffles. But do you remember what else everybody loves? Parfait, you say.
You know what else everybody like? Parfait.
The sweet treat dates back to 1892 in France. The word parfait actually translates to perfect, and your day might be just that if you eat one. The French know how to do it. The original recipe is layered custard, fruit, and real whipped cream. It's almost a health food, as strawberries are high in vitamin C, and you can lighten the calories by swapping out the custard for yogurt. But why would you do that? I'm Bree Tennis.
And, it's summer vacation. Somebody recently asked me kind of like how kids take off school during summer. Maybe you could lay off Casper, start being nicer to him. But frankly,
why would you do that?
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
Badger filling in this morning ahead of rain chances that will take us through the midweek. Some of the rain will be heavy at times. We are going to have cloudy skies, breezy winds, and cooler temperatures in the low 70s. As we head through tonight, rain chances will continue. Cloudy skies, a low of 59, and much the same tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms periodically, a high of 73. We dry out with temperatures near 80 on Friday. I'm 13 First Alert meteorologist Derek Dahlman.
I love going to the movies, especially a summer blockbuster, and F1 the movie is all that and more. Brad Pitt plays Sonny Hayes, a former F1 driver chasing a second shot at glory, and this is from the team behind Top Gun Maverick, and it has that same epic feel. I took my 15-year-old son to see it, and he said, and I quote, "Yo, that movie was lit." F1 the movie from Apple Original Films and Warner Brothers Pictures, only in theaters and IMAX this Friday. Rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs feature helps you stand out and fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
From the hardwood and the diamond to the gridiron and the course, Dan's got you covered with his trademark blend of sports passion and knowledge. He has the sports info you want and the sports therapy you need. So get your game face on, people.
Let's go get to the bell, huh? Put up or shut up, sir. We gotta get it started from the jump. Play big. Let's go. That's what legends made, man. It's showtime. Welcome to the big leagues. Let's go.
Because it's the Dan Kasper Show.
Final hour on this Wednesday morning, making the turn Wednesday. Hey, if you have not signed up yet for the 5th annual Kasper Classic, we cannot be friends. So even if you're not a golfer and you haven't signed up, we cannot be friends because this is the golf outing for you to try golf for the first time ever too. So just saying.
You've played less golf than I have, which that would be a remarkable thing. Here's your opportunity.
Right. Go to sportstalk1051.com, sign up your team right now. The new, bigger, and better title belts. Even though wrestling is not a sport, we've got title belts.
Hey.
Look at that now.
Wow.
Hey, look at that.
Very snazzy.
Ugh.
You just wrecked your shoulder.
Yeah. Got to hold it up like this.
Wow.
So
it's like full on gold mined from Fort Knox. Like you asked for some bars, melted them down, and repositioned them into the belt.
I mean, I would make room in the man cave. I'd probably put this up in the new studio when I win it, but So
wait, aren't employees of Midwest Family Eau Claire ineligible to win the?
I will take a page out of the old early 1900s football and just play under an assumed name.
Ah, there you go.
So Frank Frankfurter.
Wow! Oh my gosh, he's just like Dan Kasper. What the heck?
I'll be like Bobby Valentine and wear one of those glasses with a mustache on there. So, yep. But if I don't win it somehow, I will probably have to just buy one for myself, and because this is sweet. So, but get in there, and if you're not playing or if you're not showing up, we're not friends. So
no,
we're not friends. Just that's all I have to say about that.
Ariana Grande had a song,
and that's all I have to say about that. So, let's do some stock reports, shall we?
Let's.
Whose stock is rising? Whose stock is falling? Whose stock's rising? We'll do that first.
Sam Presti. I mean, you could say the Thunder overall. I mean, that's he made a team work, an emphasis on team. It was instructive watching the ceremony after Game 7. I did not watch much of the series, not out of not one of those ratings. I just had a lot of other stuff going on because I'm raising a kid.
Game 7 had good ratings. The rest of it was not.
Right.
Which I mean, it's Game 7.
Right, I know. So I'm follow along enough while I'm doing other stuff and giving baths and working on dinner and stuff like that. So I knew what was going on. But I always like to watch the ends of championships. It's a ceremonial thing. I get it. That's not the most important part.
You're a big one shining moment guy.
100% true on that. Yes. I did not miss it this past year.
Guy.
Yes, absolutely.
You like confetti and cards when people do that or glitter? You seem like that type of guy.
Honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of at a midpoint. It's still one of those nostalgia things where you're like, what were they doing when I was first getting into sports? So the very, very understated ones are really just hey, here's a trophy. Yay, cool. Let's go on to our off-season jobs. Okay. But then full blown, confetti everywhere. And people are going, not all right, I get it. Okay, fine. It's all a show. But it's the ceremony of it's still pretty cool to put a cap on it all. I don't think I've heard Sam Presti talk. I could have looked at the YouTube interview, but it's rare to see him go out front. He's not one of those. He's not a Daryl Morey type. He's not one of those other ones that's always communicating. He works with draft pick. Someone said, like, and I think facetiously, that like Sam Presti's going to be a little bummed out if they win the championship because he really wants to acquire some more draft picks. That's what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
They still got 15 draft picks, first round draft picks in the next 7 drafts, or something like that. But he assembled a really good team that can stay good for a while. You've got your star players, SGA, Holmgren, that are up for their post-rookie contract soon, but they're not going to be in second apron hell anytime soon. Citing him again, Jared Dubin, pretty solid basketball analyst, made the point they can churn through the lower ends of their roster because of these upcoming draft picks. So maybe a Caruso goes, maybe I'm trying to think, was it Jalen Williams? One of those lesser players, or Carson Wallace. Oh, well, the Wallace is probably going to stick around a while. But one of those level of players, Hartenstein, someone like that, probably goes on at some point. You bring in someone else via second-round picks or other trades. Keep them underneath the big guys.
Mm-hmm.
Especially SGA and Holmgren are going to be the main two. That's how they could. They might be like the Patriots in the aughts and the teens. It's a little too early to tell, but maybe like the Eagles and to a degree the 49ers, though I think they're making their own decisions on how to spend their money now, that can find ways around the financial structure of the league.
Mm-hmm.
If you're smart enough, you probably can pull it off. Well, Sam Presti's been plenty smart. We know that. It's taken a while to actually work, but it worked. And then putting together a drama-free team. Mark Daigneault was making the point of that. Like, what his quote was, "This is an uncommon team." And I thought about it after he said that, and I'm looking at all of them up there and went, you know what? I've not heard a bit of drama about the Thunder. Ever.
No,
I don't know why I would. If there's any drama, it's from other people looking at, the free throw merchant things.
Or
but
it's from the KD days and
Right.
Russell Westbrook and that. So
Right. This group does not have that at all.
Mhm.
That's assembled by Sam Presti. He is one of the top. He's always been one of the top GMs, and now he's got a championship to prove it. That's his stock doesn't need to go much higher, but it definitely has now that he built this kind of winner that could endure for a little while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My stock riser, I'm going Joey Ortiz. Joey Ortiz, who I was one. A lot of people are. We were all saying get rid of him, get a new shortstop. And I'm not saying all's made up and we're all good in that. But I mean, this is stock risers, and right now Joey Ortiz's stock is rising. In his last 30 games, he has hit 292 in his last 30 at bats. He's up to a 433, even slugging 633, and 2 home runs yesterday. So I'll just kind of keep it short and sweet. My stock riser is Joey Ortiz because now you look at his season numbers, they're still not great, but it was awful to begin the season, and right now he is playing easily his best baseball of the season from the offense, and he's still playing really great defense too. So, but stock riser, I'm going Joey Ortiz.
Good one.
So, stock faller.
My Twinnies.
What was the reaction yesterday? Was it yesterday, day before that? No change for Rocco Baldelli, but they're also doing the 2026, picking up the option.
Yeah, they're picking them up. The timing of that is right about the time of that blowout against the Mariners on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
That was an eviscerating Substack I saw from Judd Selgad of like, wow, it seems like that front office just doesn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Between the question of will the Pohlads actually end up selling, or maybe they're just gonna keep them. Why not? Falvey not making much moves. Baldelli's coming back again, and now their pitching is blown up. I mean, I'm under the presumption now in any given game that they will be down like 2 or 3 runs by like the second inning or so. Hey, it took to the third inning last night. They almost, to be fair, they almost came back. The point is, they're losing a lot of games.
Yeah.
Yes, a big part of this is injuries too. This isn't just like, wow, the Twins really are who they are. Maybe, but you lose you lose Lopez, other guys, even down to the AAA level that are potential pitchers are getting in. They've gotten beat up. And as a result, their ERA is way, way up. They have they went from like 6th to 20th, I think. And one of the main stats was either ERA or ERA plus, or one of those stats in the American League. They're not just, or Major League Baseball, I should say. Yeah. And they're not hitting that much. Buxton's still contributing. But that's about it. I'm starting to see some poor play again from some of their better players. Brooks Lee has some not so great moments. They're reverting back to the beginning of the season, and now I'm beginning to wonder how many times have I talked about at the beginning of a season, a team starts off a certain way, and you wonder, are they having their streak now?
Mm-hmm.
And that skews it. In the Twins' case, their streak came early enough. I'm beginning to wonder. In May, like the 13-game winning streak, they went up to being the number 4 seed in the playoffs. And I wonder if that was it, because they've been playing a lot more like the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
You're already starting to see some talk about maybe they should trade off a whole lot of assets. And honestly, I wouldn't necessarily disagree. I don't know.
Would that include Buxton?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you can get something for Byron Buxton at this point, I think I would be okay with that and regenerate going down the road to be successful in other years, because having that long winning streak, it happens to a lot of teams. You win a lot in a short period of time, and you start to think, ooh, maybe we don't need to make changes. No, you probably still do.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, I just did the Windhorst double finger. You can't see this. I think that's what they probably need to do, is trade at the deadline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was kind of wondering if Buxton would be one of those guys. He definitely is the fan favorite over there. That's for sure.
It would be.
So.
I mean, there'd be plenty of consternation. I understand, but I also think it's probably the right move. If you're thinking long term,
I didn't realize he was already in his 30s.
Yeah.
When I was at that game and they popped up and I looked, I'm like, oh, dude's in his 30s already. Jeez.
I think about 31 or something.
Yeah, 31.
He's
So.
old. I mean, not old, but he's right about, okay, we've heard I haven't really heard the cliff a lot. You know, like 31 is like the point suddenly batters drop off. I have not heard that stat used as much. I don't know if changes in approach to exit velocity, blah, blah, blah. Launch angle have changed that, but he's there.
Mm-hmm. My stock faller is kind of a future forecast one. Is going to be national talking heads, because they will not be able to talk about Aaron Rodgers anymore after this upcoming season. So, because essentially he said this is probably going to be his final year. So you guys are going to have to come up with new material. But thankfully too.
I mean,
so it'll probably be more Dak Prescott.
I was going to say they'll just fill with more Dak.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Was that really? I mean, come on. That made like headline. Does that really surprise anybody that he said no? It's probably my final year, but we got to blow it up.
Of
Like,
course. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna?
I mean, come on.
Yeah, well,
that's just. Did it really surprise anybody?
No.
He signed a 1-year deal, and we kind of knew if it was taking this long to decide. Duh. Let's use some flipping common sense here.
Well, now we can do the Aaron Rodgers farewell tour for all the hyped.
Which is going to be because what's the division they play? The NFC North.
Mm-hmm. So there we go.
There you go.
Everything will be a big deal. Can he own the Bears one more time? All of that sort of stuff.
Will there be any animosity against Green Bay and which this is where I will say about Rodgers. To be fair, I don't think he's really said any ill stuff about Green Bay since. I mean, even again yesterday, he said, there's a culture of winning, and Green Bay had it, or an expectation of winning. He said Green Bay is one of those, and Pittsburgh is one of those. So, I mean, I don't think he's really gone scorched earth on Green Bay, kind of like what Favre did for a hot minute. So,
right.
But
yeah. It's
yeah,
different.
Yeah. So, a little trash talk time. I gotta say this. So, I'm gonna go back to the game I was at Saturday.
Okay.
Trash talk time. Now, I do have something nice to say.
Yes.
Because there are a couple cool things. First of all, the field's awesome. I mean, the view,
field.
Fantastic. Easy.
I
to
saw your
navigate.
seats. You got the Skyline seats.
Yep.
Awesome choice.
Had the row to ourselves. Nobody else showed up. I don't know if it was just because it was too hot.
It probably
but
was.
That's fine. We had the whole row to ourselves. So, that was awesome. I wish I would have talked to this guy more, but we were walking to our seats. And he's one. I think he might have been like a security guard, but I kind of glanced over at him, and he was waving me over. I'm like, "What did I do?" Yeah, I'm wearing Brewer stuff, but what did I do? And I walk over, gave Hudson a ball from BP.
Really?
I'm like, he he saw Hudson walking next to me, and I'm like, well, this is actually his first game too. So Hudson already got a ball from BP. So
Oh my gosh.
I was like, that's nice. Ran into a couple other workers there that were incredibly nice. Gave me some advice and all that. I'm like, okay, you guys are really nice.
Yeah, the vibes in the stadium are always
so
really good.
But I will say this. I think there were more Brewers fans at that game. I mean, it's
okay. You know what? Fair assessment.
Because when they did lineups and when there were Brewer hits, they were pretty loud. And it was like, okay, am I at a home game? Right now, because this is actually awesome.
I think a lot of that has to do with where Twins fans are assessing this team in the poll in this era of the Pohlad era.
Right.
I doubled that up, but you know what I'm talking about.
Even this, so the part of this too is funny. So like during the game, they do, in every game we see this at different levels, but they'll do like a little in between inning stuff. It was so Wisconsin theme. At one point, one of them was Paul Mahler. Paul Mahler question. It's like The Price is Right where you go up the mountain.
Yeah.
Like, what year did Paul Mahler make his debut? And you guys said, and the difference is, up there and such. So it was Paul Mahler. And then they did another one where it was like what's the game where you give a clue and try to guess the word or something? All Wisconsin theme. Culver's, brats, beer, and all that. I'm like, they're really playing this up. I'm like, are we in your heads right now?
Probably
I think we're in your heads. They're Minnesota.
Yeah, they probably figured let's play to the crowd. Let's get them involved. Sure, why not? Are the Minnesotans really going to be that upset about that? I mean, come on, y'all like yourself some Culvers. You like yourself some brats. We're all upper Midwesterners, all right?
I mean, there was like one of them was water parks. You had to guess the word water parks, and I'm like, Dells. What was the clue 2 ones later? Wisconsin Dells. And the lady's like, water parks. Why didn't you use it? Because they had to pass on that one. And I'm like, it was all like Wisconsin themed.
Yeah, they probably can tell where the ticket sales are coming from to a degree. They know who comes over, and plus there are a lot of,
and I know it's Western Wisconsin mostly. I get it,
right? And plenty of Wisconsinites that now live in the Twin Cities. I mean, we know there are lots of transplants over there, and like you said, people that live in like New Richmond, Hudson, that River Falls area. So yeah, that makes sense. You're going to play to that. Plus, like I said, Twins fans this year are less enthused because they want Pohlad to sell the team. I mean, the early season attendance was not great. Now
even driving around downtown for parking, I was surprised every time people walking around wearing Brewer stuff. I was like, whew, all right.
Yeah.
I like this.
See,
I feel at home.
Now, this is where I think that it's a little bit more of a rivalry than it's given credit for. Like there was that article on rivalries nationally, and it didn't really give much credit to Twins Brewers. And I mean, it's not a hot rivalry. I get it. It's not Brewers Cubs, for example,
or Cubs Cardinals.
That's one of the ultimate ones, and we know the biggest ones, obviously, in baseball. It's not that. It was hotter at one point when they were in the same league. It's going to take a fair amount to get to that level. They both have to be really good, probably have a World Series appearance together, or maybe there's realignment and they end up in like the same division or something. That's a possibility. But it's not a dead rivalry. It's not like you're trying to invent like a Twins Diamondbacks rivalry or something like that. It's legit.
I call it a Midwest nice rivalry.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're not, and I know sometimes you'll get Vikings fans at games against the Packers can get like legit rude. They're also not going to be Philadelphia rude. Not going to be New York rude. It's not going to be Dodgers Giants where you expected a fight to break out at every single game or something involving the Raiders or something like that. No, it's never going to be to that degree. And that's how we're built. We know we live around here. But I'm glad you liked the overall experience. What was your favorite thing about Target Field? So the stadium, whether it's part of the actual field, whether it was the experience of, like you mentioned, the ushers, what was your favorite thing? And also, what did you buy food-wise? Because I have to ask that question.
My favorite thing was I didn't have to wait in line for a beer. It was very no. Actually, I didn't have to wait at all to go to the bathroom There was no lines whatsoever.
There are lots of bathrooms
Yeah.
around there. If you know where to go, you can get in and out.
Uh-huh.
And that's in some well-attended games.
Yep. I like for the first time, not necessarily knowing where your seats were or where to go. Navigation was easy because I will say this about Lambeau. If you don't know how to get up to the upper level, it does get confusing. Like if you're not paying attention to the side, like, oh, there's the escalators or, oh, there's the ramp, you're going to walk right by them and you're going to keep walking around in a circle. I've done it. I'm sure a lot of people have done it. Like, seriously.
Oh, wait, I got to go back.
They?
Oh, no. Yeah.
You know, it's hard. Very easy navigation. But food-wise, I didn't have any food. I just had some popcorn. Hudson had the ice cream in the mini cup sort of thing. Okay. So other than that, I didn't have any food. I did have my I have to have a beer when I'm at a ball game. I have to. But everybody was just so dang friendly. It kind of annoyed me. It did because I went up to get Hudson something to drink and I said he wanted a small soda. So I said, can I just get, and the guy's like, well, do you know the difference in sizes? And I said, no. So he showed it to me like the collector's cup and then that, and it wasn't any difference. He didn't have to tell me that because with the collector cup, you get free refills. And then he was giving me, well, you can get water in there. I'm like, you didn't have to tell me that, but thank you for dinner. I gave him a tip. Yeah. For that. You know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that to credit to the Twins, they've made sure that your experience at a game is going to be really good. I rarely hear anyone like give a real negative assessment of Target Field. It usually has to involve the weather or the team or something like that, but it's not going to be.
And I will say this isn't just for Target. I know other parks do this in Miller, I was going to say Miller Park again. Yeah, that's the second time I almost said it today. Amfib Field, you can carry in certain stuff.
Yeah.
Like we had bottles of water that we carried in inside, and you can bring in snack like that type of. It almost creates more of that family type of environment, where that's especially like, okay, it was a really hot day. Let's be smart about this and try it so people don't get sick or hurt or anything.
I think the only thing where I've seen the ushers get really hardcore, but this makes sense, and I'm sure this happens at other stadiums, is the don't walk around during the pitches, stay up at the top. So like I'm hardcore about respecting that. Like, okay, yeah, because the ushers will be like, whoa, down, like that's it. But that's also looking out for the rest of the fans that are sitting and actually watching. The vibe there is really good for baseball. That's why I love going to games there.
The only thing I don't like, and there's nothing you can change about it, I don't like the parking aspect because it is downtown. We were in a parking garage and I was like, because I've never been there, so I bought a parking pass early. I mean, it was easy, in and out. But
do you remember which ramp you were
Ramp
in?
C.
Which one?
C.
Okay.
So we took the Skyline walking and
Gotcha.
that. So which was actually nice. Not having to dodge traffic and that. But I will say this: Minnesota still sucks at driving. Figure it out.
They've got the worst of both worlds. You've got the city baby drivers / Mad Max types with like maybe they have a license plate, maybe they don't, and they're going like 90 on I-94 when everyone else is going 55. You're like, okay, where did he come from? That happens. And the opposite of the dreaded, why are you going 20 in the left lane type? So you drove up here from Rushford. I can call out Rushford because that's where my family's from. Yeah.
They need to figure it out at the DMV over there. Like, I don't know what they're teaching in that, but I probably lost count of how many potential accidents I could have saw. It was ridiculous. Like, what you do not deserve a license.
And then probably
yes, they had Minnesota plates.
Oh yeah, right. They do. Good number of them probably have the black ones, the blackout Minnesota plates.
Veronica made a comment about those. Yeah.
What is her take on that compared to like the road?
Well, she's like, why does everybody have so many Road America plates? Because the Road America colors, right? I mean, it's
something you're only going to hear a Wisconsinite say.
Yeah.
But apparently those, I saw some stories said they're really popular in Minnesota. Okay, cool. I like the other plates. And then of course entitled probably financial services guy who lives out in Chaska or Chanhassen that's driving their SUV and is like ultra aggressive in downtown Minneapolis. Those guys too. You're just like, really? You're going to like pull right up in front and you're like, oh, zoom around. Dude, Knock it off, okay?
What really was the tip of the iceberg is when we were leaving
Mm-hmm.
and following this car, going slow. And then all of a sudden they stop right in the middle, like probably 15 feet from the light. Literally, I wish I would have taken a picture. The sign says no parking. They stopped to let two people out. And they were decked out in these probably like $2,000 suits because they had to go to the wedding across the street. You couldn't go up to the light.
Nope.
15 more feet.
We're just stopping right here.
And I'm like, oh, I glared at them. I don't care that you were in this fancy white tux too. I mean, good Lord, it probably cost a few $1,000, but Jesus.
Downtown Minneapolis driving and interstate driving there is the main highway driving is it's an experience. It's a you need to learn about that. I'm meaning you in the second person sense. One needs to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And even as much as I've driven over there, it's still it's be wary of who's all around.
Oh yeah. It was like, and it was funny because there was one point like we're sitting at light and Veronica's like, why is there a sign that says watch for trains? And all of a sudden train comes. She's like, oh, that's why.
Yeah. The underrated part of this, like, wait, oh, there's a freaking wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. She's like, I thought that was a joke. Nope. It's
a viable thing there. Very much so. But I'm glad you enjoyed the actual stadium.
Yeah, it is kind of like because you can hear the cop cars with sirens while you're watching the game. I was like, where's that going? I'm like, it's an actual cop car, dude. Or,
oh yeah,
you're downtown. You can hear everything.
You are
so,
like, welcome to the big city.
Yeah.
But good. Did he like it?
Oh yeah, I think because it's so different than a football game, right? Because he's been to Lambeau and such. It's more. I don't know if this is the right word to describe it. It's more relaxing to watch a baseball game in person.
Of course.
I mean, I feel like you have to turn on the intensity level when you go to a football game, and you have to you're glued to everything and all. You could chill out. Like for some reason this year, I've grown more of an affiliation for baseball. Like I'm really getting into baseball now. Like going to the ballpark, and I don't know if it's because Hudson's really getting into baseball and that too, but it's just a different. Like he was getting up and he could walk to the end and go down, and if his mom was getting something, can't do that at Lambeau.
No,
you can't do that at Lambeau.
You have to. You're in.
Yep, exactly. And it's just there's a different vibe. It's a different feel. It's more enjoyable in a lot of aspects to go watch a baseball game.
Absolutely.
I mean, I love my Packers games, but I feel like it's better watching baseball in person. Like we did a poll in that, and I would actually agree with the rankings. Baseball got number 1 for best to watch in person. Hockey was 2, which I would agree with, and football was 3.
Yeah,
basketball was 4. I would actually agree with those.
Yeah,
gosh, I enjoy watching NHL hockey in person.
I still need to get to one of those games. Talking to another person who was talking about all the Wild games they were at. I'm like, I need to get to one of these. But I've heard the same thing you've said. It's a great in-person experience. I'm sure anyone, NHL we're talking here. I mean, I've seen like high school level, but anyone listening who's been to a Wild game can probably vouch for it as well.
Yep.
So that needs to be the one that's going to be my first experience coming at the soon-to-be renamed Xcel Energy Center. But yeah, baseball, gosh, it's easy to miss some plays too. You do get to relax. I'm not talking about like, oh, you're on your phone. No, you're just sitting there like that. Oh, wait. Oh, home run. Here we go. It happens so often.
Well, I'm going to pick on my wife here because I did have to take Hudson to the bathroom and we came back and Ortiz was on first base. I'm like, how'd he get on? Well, I don't know. And we looked up at the scoreboard at the same time where it tells you, oh, he got a first base hit. And Hudson just let her have it.
Ooh.
He's like, a first base hit? A first base? It's a single. You don't call it a first. It's a single. I just went off on her. And I'm like, I didn't have to say anything. I'm like, there you go.
No,
yep.
It wasn't me.
Was it? Well said. All right. We got to take a break here. Although I will say our good friend, I don't know if he's listening right now, but our good friend Dave, he'd probably have a field day pulling over a lot of Minnesota drivers.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, I was glad to get out of that area and get to Cabela's on our pit stop on her. Man. So, all All right. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back after these quick words.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
If you're looking for great deals and friendly service in Eau Claire, you've got to go check out Mike's Star Market. I've been shopping there for a while now because they always have fresh produce, quality meats, and everything that I need, all at the prices that won't break the bank. Mike, Sarah, and the entire staff are so helpful, and they've got so many different flavors of brats that I don't know if I can even try them all. For a local market that feels like home, head on over to Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire at 2238 Heimstead Road in Eau Claire.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Delta Dental is proud to sponsor Family Sundays at Helfair Field. Play catch on the field on Sundays from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. prior to Brewers' regular season home games. Admission is free. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org, insured by NCUA.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
We love when you listen to our local Midwest family Eau Claire radio stations, but did you know all of them are in one convenient location too? It's the Around the 715 app. Take us with you hiking on one of our many outdoor trails in west central Wisconsin. Sync up a station to your Bluetooth speaker while sitting around the campfire on a Saturday night. Heck, you can put your earbuds in and listen on a cruise ship in the middle of the Caribbean. We are based locally, but you can take us with you globally with the Around the 715 app. Living local, but living large.
Are you facing an unexpected financial emergency? You need WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com could help you get up to $3,000 fast. WeFixMoney.com is free to use, available 24/7, and has an A rating with a Better Business Bureau. Go to the name you trust, WeFixMoney.com. If you need emergency cash up to $3,000 for bills or anything else, type WeFixMoney.com directly in your browser. That's WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com.
ServiceMaster of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
Broadcasting live from the TDS Sports Talk 105.1 studios, it's the Dan Kasper Show.
So our good buddy Dave is listening. He says, Left Lane Louis. That's who he pulls over. Calls him Left Lane Louis. He says, I love pulling over Minnesota drivers too. So I think one of these days, first of all, I would love to do like a ride along. But I want to almost like do a ride along with a Minnesota DMV tester and a Wisconsin DMV tester and see the difference. Like I remember doing my driver's license as a kid. You're scared to death of those people because they were mean. I mean, I had a really mean one, like very strict. Not teacher, DMV tester.
Right.
So
my teacher was Mr. Nicholas from Memorial. Those of a certain era remember him, the coach. But the DMV guy, and I failed my first test. I was bummed out. I don't remember him being like mean, but he said, no, you didn't do well enough. Got to come back again. Okay.
Well, all right. I'll tell you a quick story about my testing. I'm kind of embarrassed about it. I failed my first time too. Okay. But here's what happened. It wasn't because I went over the 25 points or whatever it was. I think it was like 25 or whatever. So in Medford, in Main Street, there's a two-way stop. It's an intersection, okay? And I stopped, and I did my left and did my right. And I looked again, and I was good. And I started to go, and she yelled, "Stop." And I stopped, and there was a car that was on a different street pulling onto the street to go up there. I had time. I had plenty of time. And did the rest of the test. We get back, and she's telling me all this great stuff I did at. However, I had to tell you to stop, so you fail. Made me do everything else, told me all this stuff, and said, so I was like, you can. I want instant replay on this.
See, but here's the thing. She made you the driver you are today.
Well, that's true.
That is not going to be
That's true.
wacky Minnesota driver.
But then I had to go all the way to Wausau to do my test there. So, but
were the Wausau ones easier? Like, obviously you got past.
That guy was cool. I made him. I think what really helped, I made him laugh. Yeah, I made him laugh because when we did pull into the parking spot, I accidentally tapped the gas that went forward really quick and almost hit the parking grader there. But no, I got her good there. So Boston's a bigger city too, and I passed that one for crying out loud.
Oh, I mean, you got to be careful when you're driving Medford. I mean, if there's a car coming.
But that has stuck with me for 20 some odd years.
When you go to that intersection to this day, I mean, not that you're always in Medford, but anytime you're at that intersection, you go like, oh, memory. There's a car bet down there.
I remember it. Yeah. So, but
you'll never forget it.
Nope. Nope. And there was always one. Yeah. Okay. I don't need to go into details with that. So, but I would like to do a ride. I want to do some like serious ride along. I don't want to sit in the back because then I might have to sit in the back with a criminal, and I don't want to do that.
Nah, I don't think they would allow that.
I don't want it. I just want to wear a vest, safety vest, and everything. And yeah.
Right along, see who all gets pulled over.
I want somebody to say, "Book 'em, Daniel."
So I'm sure that's exactly what they do.
Yep. Just like it is on the old TV shows.
Someone's going 100, not using any directionals. Yeah, I'm sure at that point.
I want a badge.
Yeah, sure you want this?
I want a badge. All the good stuff.
You sound like you're Hudson at this point.
He don't know. He don't want to do a ride along. He's too nervous. I'll do a ride along.
Have you ever been in a police car for any circumstance? It could, I mean, innocuous, but have you ever been? Like you've had to take a ride in one? I mean, I'll start by saying I had to, but that's because we had a car that broke down, summer heat on the way up to show choir clinic between my junior and senior years. So my mom and dad and I had to take probably a sheriff's car up to Shell Lake. So I have been in a police car once, but again, good circumstances. How about you?
I will not reveal why. I did not break any laws, and I was not in trouble.
Okay.
But I have. And we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Maybe that'll be a story for some people. Some people who know me very well know probably what I'm referring to.
Is this for your Patreon account?
Yeah. In my autobiography. That'll come
Everything comes out.
In years to come. Yes. I almost forgot about it because I didn't get in trouble. But yes, there is. I'll just say it's college.
Have you told parts of the story before?
Probably not on there.
Oh.
No.
Am I familiar with this?
I don't know. Maybe.
I might have to, you might have to remind me.
There's some very close friends that know us, but
okay.
Yeah. I will say that's that particular police officer was a really cool dude.
Okay. There's a lot of interesting with this, but it doesn't sound that interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, gosh.
Well,
I was just actually talking about this with somebody the other day. So, this exact what happened that day. But yeah. College. I miss college. So we'll leave it at that. Mizorowski Skeeds.
Let's change it, please, fast.
To Mizorowski versus
the big Miz, as we're saying now.
We're just a few hours away from this matchup. Do you think people are putting too much pressure on this matchup or too much attention on this matchup?
Well, of course.
You think they are?
Yeah, I mean, and it's very likely not going to turn out the way that people want it to go, but that's how baseball works.
Mm-hmm.
You expect it to involve a complete game pitcher's duel, which that is a possibility, and we may be talking about this for a while. or maybe one of them gets run pretty fast. Anything is, well, KG here. Anything's possible. It is. So I mean, it's getting overhyped a little bit, but I'm in on it. I'll be paying attention. Of course, I will. Listen after 1 o'clock here on Sports Talk 105.1, 790 AM.
Yep.
Do we know yet if the roof is open or closed?
The roof is on fire. I don't know.
I know there was rain that was just hanging out in Milwaukee earlier, and I see there is rain approaching southern Wisconsin.
probably
so
closed.
I'm guessing, and I mean, they seem to be the types like, ooh, there's some rain down in Des Moines. Close it. They probably will anyway.
Yeah,
today
probably. So, all right. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll do picks for this game and a prediction pick regarding the NBA draft.
Ooh.
So, which is, tonight too, if anybody even cares. I did see somebody post for the Bucks to-do list for tonight. Nothing. So,
nice.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a quick break and be back to wrap up things after these quick words. And if you're stuck at work or you just can't watch it on TV, the game of the century, just a few hours from now. First
Maybe
pitch.
it will be.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Brewers, Pirates, Jacob Mizorowski, Paul Skeens, 1:10 first pitch. Coverage will begin at 12:35. So before we make a pick for that game and some other ones, let's do some other baseball games and such. But first, I'm going to lead off with the NBA draft. So the Bucks do have a second round pick. It's the 17th pick in the second round. Will they actually make a pick in this year's draft?
I will say yes, and they're going to add to their draft haul. I don't know how, but
so
they're
going to add more picks.
Yes, there will be a trade that will involve something more coming to the Bucks.
Maybe a Pat Connaughton for a pick, or
probably something like that.
You know, I love the ones like we're going to trade a 2040 second round pick for a second round. This is why the NBA does not give a rip about the draft for a lot of teams. They don't, unless you got the number one pick, nobody gives a rip about,
And how excited are we once again to go through the whole, this team drafted this player, but we all know it's going to this other team, but we're still going to pretend that it's this team, and it's going to be confusing. Like, who drafted what? Huh? No, just acknowledge what is. I know it's not official until July 6th.
That's dumb.
Make it clear, folks, okay?
I hate that. Yes. That's so annoying, especially like when you look at the draft order and it says via, from, then, I mean, like 4 different teams that this pick came from. It's just, and they tell you.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care that it originally started off with the Clippers, and then it went to the Warriors, and then it went to the Knicks, and then it went to the Heat, and then it went to the T-Wolves.
So it was actually drafted by the Clippers,
right.
But no, who is he going to play for? That's all I want to know.
Yep.
Who has him?
Yep.
Now.
Yep. So, all right, baseball picks: White Sox, Diamondbacks.
I'll go D-backs.
Diamondbacks. Let's go Boston and the Angels.
I'll actually go Angels in this one.
I'm going to go Angels too. Let's do Nationals and Padres. Padres. Rangers, Orioles.
Jacob deGrom's actually pitching pretty well this year. I will take the Rangers.
I'm going to go Rangers too. Athletics and Tigers.
Tigers.
Blue Jays, Guardians.
I'll take the Guardians.
I'll go Blue Jays for this one. Let's do Braves and Mets.
Let's do the Mets.
Not playing great right now either. So
not so much, but
that's who the Brewers played at the beginning of July, so maybe we'll catch them at a good time.
Maybe.
I'm gonna go Mets though for this one. Yankees and the Reds. Yankees struggling too. So, but Max Fried's on the mound.
He's pitching pretty well. I'll take the Yanks in this one.
Yankees, Tampa, and Kansas.
I'll go Rays. They are hot.
Yeah.
Rasmussen's part of it.
I'm gonna go Rays.
Pitching.
Yep. Let's do the Cubs and the Cardinals. And the Cardinals have been having their way, but now. We wanted the Cardinals to beat the Cubs and lower it down. They have, but now Brewers and Cardinals are back to being tied. So there you have it.
So can they be hit by an asteroid so they're not playing anymore? So by default, the Brewers are. I'm gonna I'll pick the Cubs for this one.
I'm gonna go Cardinals with Eric Fedde.
Okay.
So let's do Philly and Houston.
Take the Phils.
Phillies with Zach Wheeler. Dodgers and Rockies. Okay.
Yamamoto. I mean, hey, look, sometimes I'm going to go with the Dodgers.
Yeah. Miami and the Giants.
I'll take Logan Webb and the Giants.
Same. Will your Twins actually get a win against Seattle today?
Maybe. I think they will actually.
Joe Ryan
but given the rain coming, I don't know. There's going to be a game today.
Weird.
Lots of rain coming.
Yeah. If they do play, I'm going to go with the Twins.
If so.
Pittsburgh, Milwaukee. Then here we go. It's not even the most expensive game today, but it is up there. So.
$20 tickets. I mean, if you want to drive, now that's online, but you could probably head on down there right now and still get in. You'd have to leave now. So listen to us. I'm going to go with the Brewers, and I'm going to say a no decision for Mizorowski. I think, you know what? I'll be a modern baseball guy. Neither gets a decision. Brewers get the win.
Ooh.
No win, no loss.
Win, huh?
So I'm kind of saying that it's going to be a low scoring game, but this
is a very heart and mind tug of war for me. Very, 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 very tough one. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to go Pirates.
Whoa.
Yep. I'm going Pirates.
Now, is that Mizorowski or is that the relief corps?
You know what? Mizorowski's been great. A couple runs could make the difference in this game. This is a game that, yes, all the attention is on the starting pitchers, but that also puts a ton more pressure on these other players. One error could decide this game.
Mm-hmm.
One hit could decide this game. So I mean, if you are these position players, you got to play practically mistake-free baseball. You have got to take advantage, of your at-bats and that. And right now, if I had to pick between these two pitchers, which one's going to limit the mistakes, I might take Paul Skeens.
Probably so, yeah.
So I think the Brewers offense right now is playing better than the Pirates offense, but I'm going to go Paul Skeens and the Pirates in this one.
Skeens, I trust more because he's shown more.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Jacob Mizorowski had he's a rookie, one of those games would not surprise me.
You know what's going to be annoying though tomorrow? Let's say Mizorowski allows a few runs.
Mm-hmm.
What a bum. What's wrong with him now?
Screwed this one up too.
Yep. Not everybody, but there will be some.
Oh yeah.
There will be some. He's definitely not at Paul Skeens level.
Here we go again, Brewers.
So I hope nobody's like that. That's one of our listeners, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's me trying to temper down the expectations and the hype and just trying to, because this is just game 81, which after this will be halfway
we're at the
through.
halfway point.
Yeah. Well, 2 quarters into the season already.
Officially. Nice.
So if Mizorowski goes out there, has double-digit Ks, and let's say picks up another win, can we get him as a starter for the National League, kind of like Paul Skeens last year?
If he keeps this up, maybe. So it's a question for Dave Roberts. Would Dave Roberts want to have one of his pitchers right now, given
he better not
the tenuousness of the Dodger pitching staff? I think he would probably like to. I mean,
now it's still Paul Skeens. Right. I mean, he's got a losing record, but he's got the top ERA.
Well, and also Skeens is going to draw the eyeballs too.
Yeah, right. So,
All-Star game needs ratings, so you want to have people tune in to see Skeens pitch first.
Who stays with their current team the longest, Skeens or Mizorowski?
Now, longest as a starter in their career, or longest from June 25th?
Spent, so you count Paul Skeens last year.
Okay, so their career with team.
That team, yeah.
Mizorowski. I feel fairly confident in that. I
agree.
I mean, given all the Skeens trade talk isn't happening this year, but given that that's already started, I know the Brewers cycle through, but the best case for Mizorowski is a Freddie Peralta kind of situation or a Brandon Woodruff kind of situation, and that's a long time with the team.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I don't think Mizorowski is suddenly going to be, oh, gosh, he's got to go to the Yankees right now. No.
Yeah.
The Brewers are a better organization, so you're not going to have the free Jacob Mizorowski chance from the media that you have with free Paul Skeens.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Nope, I agree. I think it's Mizorowski stays with the Brewers longer than what Paul Skeens will be staying with the Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure. For their entire career.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if, though, Mizorowski, let's say he does have this fantastic game today. At what point, if you're Matt Arnold in that front office, maybe they have, I don't know. Do you try to lock him up for that Freddie Peralta contract that you got away with? Because, I mean, if he continues to go out, I mean, this would be a big one. Price tag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and a lot of teams have been doing that lately, signing up players fairly young to very long contracts.
Yep.
Doesn't seem to happen as often with pitchers, but this might be one, given how he has been hyped, and I say that in a good way. He has been hyped, been thought to be potentially one of the better pitchers that the National League is going to see over the next few years. It's still really, really early. I think you got to give it like 4 or 5 more starts to really know.
Mm-hmm.
But all indications are he's following the track that was expected.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is with today's game too, if Paul Skeens has a fantastic game, it's going to be, just kind of a typical Paul Skeens. If Mizorowski has a fantastic start and the Brewers win, that attention is going to be more. Like, who has the most to gain in terms of like perception? It's Mizorowski for today's game.
Of course, because it's lower, so he's got more growth.
Mm-hmm.
Skeens, I mean, short of Skeens throwing a no-hitter, or my gosh, a perfect game. Wow, that's what I'm kind of hoping that we have quiet bats today, and that these two go long. It's entertainment.
Yep.
I want to see. Gosh, could we have dueling no-hitters?
See, I know chicks dig the long ball, but that would be sit on the edge, chewing on my fingernails. Fantastic.
That would be good for a daytime June baseball game between two teams that are presently not in the playoffs.
And then watch, it's probably going to be 10 to 11 or 11 to 10, whatever. So,
who's pitching now? Oh, I don't recognize them. They just got called. Oh, okay. It's the third inning. Oh,
the cool thing though too is, and I think Seabaum was one who mentioned it first hour, these are two small market teams that are getting this attention, which I think is awesome.
That's good.
They're two division teams. This could be possibly, maybe only for a year or so, the first of many matchups between these two. Not saying that's always going to work out, in terms of rotations and such, but hopefully,
there's a chance.
Brewers wise, get Skeens out of the division.
They would rather,
but it's cool to have that kind of interdivision matchup, and it's both the small market teams with that. So from a baseball purist standpoint, that's cool.
And this is one where the business types, as much as we talk about how they always want the big ratings, actually, I bet Rob Manfred and company likes this right now. They see the NFL, they see how you spread around, and quote unquote every market matters more for some than others, but you want to spread it more beyond the Yankees and the Dodgers.
Right. I agree. All right, shot clock's going to cut me off here in just a few seconds. Again, first pitch, 1:10. You can tune in to the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. At 12:35, pregame coverage will begin. It's just a couple hours from now. Enjoy the rest of your day. DP Dancer up next. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Talk to you then.